Well, well, well. Look what we have here.
Look what the dogs have dragged in.
Oh, man, I can reach out and touch you, baby. I love you. I love you. Happy Monday, folks. Let me adjust my seat. Oh, there we go.
Oh, whoa, hey, careful now.
Little pop down now.
Careful now.
Careful now. Why do I have my glasses on?
Hey, dude.
My glasses.
I wouldn't change
like
a thing.
that?
I wouldn't change a thing, brother. It was a long night. Just go ahead and admit it right up front. It was a long night.
We've had a long. It's been a long week, brother.
It's been a long week.
We're going to talk about it, aren't we?
Dude, that's up to you, man.
I may have pictures and video.
You what?
For the audience today.
Oh, wow.
I just may, Marcus. Okay. Did you check your social media profiles this morning, Marcus?
Which ones?
Did you do anything that would upset Rachel Swanee?
I always do. I always post stuff.
You always do, Marcus.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that. What was I going to? Here we go. Man, folks, it feels like I haven't seen y'all in too damn long. All right.
We missed a week, Travis.
Well, we did have a show last week. It just didn't cooperate. Is that the word? Didn't cooperate. Are you there?
I'm here. I didn't think we had a show last.
It didn't exactly. Yeah. Didn't.
What are you looking at?
No.
You're frozen.
Mark is now our local fireman here.
Oh, God.
What do you mean I'm frozen?
Okay. Well,
I'm not even freezing, dude.
Okay, you're back.
Hang on, let me see.
You're back. You were freezing there for a second. That's okay.
Am I back?
You're back. You're good.
Okay.
You're booked. You're good, man.
Okay. Tell me if I'm freezing up again.
Yeah, you're freezing up. Your video's freezing up.
9, 2, 3. Okay, I'm just making sure that okay, that should make it better. Here, let me get back over here. Good.
Okay, it's
that better.
We'll you got to keep going.
Mark,
you were freezing up. Not me.
I wonder if it has.
I'm not frozen, dude. I have taken care of all my. I've taken care of all my audio visual issues, dude. We figured it. We figured it out.
All right. Well, I've got the live feed going here, so we're gonna have Roger do a little dance for us here, and I think Mark's making up that it's freezing on here, but
no,
okay.
I'm not making it up at all.
Mark likes to play games with my heart, so
I just love all the video coming in from Minneapolis and different places around the country now, where the leftists are just deciding it's a good idea to go head to head with our ICE officials. Dude, this is great video. I'm really enjoying this. It makes me miss law enforcement right now because, dude, if I was in there, I'd be racking some serious commie ass.
Do you miss
No, I miss it right now because I'm looking at
Are you missing it right now? Well,
oh God.
I mean, that's for that's federal. That's a federal situation going on.
Yeah, it's totally different than city, but it's the city.
Right.
We'd be in there too, and dude, just racking ass was so much fun.
You like to rack ass?
Oh God, dude, you get bad guys and get to rack their ass. Oh, it was very
That's like beating up people that deserve it, kind of deal. Right?
Oh yeah, not innocent people. I'm talking about dirtbags.
Okay.
Commies, rapists, burglar, people, hijackers, people like that. I'm talking about people that scum of the earth, man, just being able to just open season.
Just the bottom of the poop barrel, huh, buddy?
Oh man, dude, figure out ways to, create long-term pain and discomfort and PTSD on them to where they will never forget the encounter they had with you ever for the rest of their miserable life. They'll never forget it.
Folks, I apologize. For those of you on Facebook, I'm seeing some of y'all jumping in and out on there. Mark, you're already offending people by racking ass.
What do you mean I'm already offending? Who am I offending?
Me.
Good God, man. Do we have pussies on board? I thought we declared this show to be a pussy-free zone. Did we do that or did we not do that? I don't know.
Dude, I'm just trying to make sure the feed's gonna not cut out because I'm trying to get things ready to share on screen and it's like not wanting to here we go. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, because the way to do it is through there it is. It's through Google, man. That's the trick, y'all. Man, y'all are seeing this in real time. In real time. You're watching us work, man. They're just watching us work.
I'm watching you live right now, and it looks fine on Facebook.
Yeah, I think we're doing okay so far.
You're looking good, dude. You're looking good on there.
So much for the man.
Did you do some makeup this morning, Travis? Did you do a little makeup this morning?
No. Okay.
It looks like you might have done a little bit of makeup, a little foundation, some eyeliner. Did you do some Botox?
I had a little something in there.
All right.
A little makeup, little coffee, little cigarettes, little methylene blue. That's probably what you're seeing is the bluish hue. The bluish hue for my methylene blue. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I do about it that way. But
have you turned your toilet bowls blue? Have you turned your toilet bowls blue yet?
Oh yeah, it's like a Smurf house back at the house.
It's interesting.
My wife always knows where I'm at, or if I've left my presents anywhere. If y'all see them picking up when I'm putting down, yeah, she knows. She knows it was me. She knows, folks. Welcome to the Defiance Daily Show. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Monday, 12:22 p.m. Central Standard Time. Appreciate everybody joining us. I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year's, a Merry Christmas. We did a holiday special up there at the ranch, but we had some technical difficulties. Appreciate everybody bearing with us as we got through those issues. And now we're here. I'm in studio. Mark is our mobile man. Mark actually might have some canyons in the background next time we do the show, right? What are you thinking there, Marcus?
Listen, I don't want to make any promises, but now that we've got the mobile, now we've got the bugs worked out and ready to go. We just plan on me kind of, having some different backgrounds in the near future.
Some different backgrounds. You're going to be moving around, man. You're doing all the good stuff.
Staying mobile, bro. Staying mobile. Got to stay ahead of the commie. Yeah.
You're just always trying to stay a step ahead of the commies, yeah.
Well, that and the feds.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a shame because if you were slightly autistic and maybe you were walking around with headphones during January 6th and maybe you could have been caught up in the pipe bomb case. You could actually be, man, I don't even know if I could say that.
Well, I think since I am on the spectrum, I think that's why I am kind of a suspect as a bombing suspect for January 6th, even though I wasn't even in Virginia or Maryland or anywhere near DC or anything or nothing. Still, I've been accused of being on the spectrum primarily by you. So that rumor's out there now. And the feds are saying, hey,
if you weren't around, you kind of got that special. We got the special tech going on. It's no big deal. What's the matter?
Dude, you keep freezing up on
I'm not
freezing
up on Facebook.
You are. I'm not.
I notice it's whenever I'm trying to change screens, so I'll just sit here and try to focus on this. But I am
I think you're screwing
okay.
it up, Travis.
Hang on, y'all. No, Mark. Let's not talk like that, okay? Let's not do that, all right? Yeah, we're just kind of
Hey, you accused me of being autistic.
kind of
You said I was. You called me Spectrum Boy.
You're the one who volunteered the information, you being on the spectrum, buddy.
Dude, no, you
I didn't
called
do
me
that
Spectrum.
for you.
You called me Spectrum Boy,
I called you.
and which is fine. Which is
I
fine.
called you Spectrum Boy. That's so awful.
Which is fine. That's okay. I've got thick skin, bro. Okay, I've been called worse.
Yeah.
You know,
I just don't know about that one, buddy. I don't
You know?
man.
but I don't know what it is. But the feds instantly took more interest in me once they thought I was perhaps on the spectrum, and maybe they're just going after
'Cause then
retards.
they
now.
have. That's right. The FBI has trouble finding suspects, but if you're on the spectrum, for some reason, the FBI has a direct line to you causing crimes. Right.
So let me ask you this, Travis. Are you being a little facetious? Are you a little weary or wary of the official Dan Bongino line, Kash Patel line, that they have caught the January 6th bomber, the young black kid who's autistic, that they are saying was now they were the bomber. I mean, are you saying you're just a little wary of that? Not weary, but wary. Maybe you're weary from being
maybe
wary.
a little bit. Look, I think a lot of us, and me and you included, had very high hopes for Dan Bongino and Kash
Danny boy.
Patel. And it's like it's our team, our team. It's like
supported
sports. It's go team go. We got our team in there. Everything's going to change. And basically over the past year.
How many arrests we got? Can you count off the arrests there, Travis, that we have?
Dude, I remember when me and you were talking about this election, we were like, man, he's got to get Maduro. We remember we were talking about Venezuela. We really wanted regime change in Venezuela. And we were so excited. Like, man, I think the first arrest I want to see is Maduro.
Yeah, you know what? I remember that conversation. Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about this whole time. Like, man, what are we doing about Venezuela, Mark?
Right. Yeah.
I just, we drop the ball sometimes. We don't keep our eyes all over the Middle East like Israel wants us to. And man, if we could just, I just hope we're still doing what Bibi Netanyahu wants us to do. Maybe Venezuela has something to do with Israel. I don't know, but it seems like, you're paying attention to Venezuela stuff. It's kind of taken away from Israel. So the Middle East policy is kind of in shambles right now because now we're looking at Venezuela and we're not looking at Iran all of a sudden. But we did see the protest erupting in Iran. And look, folks, yes, we're going to cover the protests that are happening in Iran. And I just did. There it is. There's your coverage. I just listen, Mark, I don't care. Right? How much do you care about protests happening in Iran right now? Tell me, why don't you gauge this for me?
Okay.
How is this affecting your life? I need to know. I'll sip my coffee.
Now you got to understand that when I was more of a wee lad, I remember the days in the 70s of Jimmy Carter. I remember the American embassy falling in Tehran.
I remember the early 80s when we created the Taliban.
No, this was the 70s.
Oh, okay.
This was during the Carter administration.
I know where you're going.
And the U.S. embassy in Tehran fell to the students there, the Muslims, and the whole takeover. And I remember, was it Eagle One? I think it was Eagle One. That was the name of the mission that Carter allowed Sergeant Charlie Beckwith to go in and rescue our staff of the embassy, and we had the debacle out in the air in the desert there in Iran, and we lost a number of servicemen, and That's actually what gave rise to bringing on, that was when we decided to bring on Delta Force and created that unit and so on and so forth. So my perspective is going to be a little different maybe than those that are younger. I would say that, the more we can get rid of Muslims in the Middle East, the better. Is Iran the most important thing? I think the most important number one priority that America should have right now is arresting corrupt criminal politicians and corrupt criminal government employees and officials. Right. And there's tens of thousands of them that need to be arrested. If we ignore that and we go after Maduro, which I'm all about, hey, I'm a huge proponent of the Monroe Doctrine.
We were talking about this during, I remember in our private conversations, we were just worried about, is Maduro going to be arrested, man?
Well, I wasn't, I think
we're joking, folks, by the way. We're being totally facetious. In no way was Venezuela anywhere near our fucking radar. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have listen, I don't necessarily have a problem with taking out Maduro. That's not a problem. What I have a problem with is if we don't take care of these corrupt politicians, if people aren't, we should be building prisons right now on an industrial World War II scale to house all the criminal, corrupt politicians and government employees. There are tens of thousands that need to be arrested and locked up for at least 20 to 50 years, and we're not arresting anybody. And if we don't make these arrests, I don't care what we do. I don't care about anybody else, anything else we do. America is finished. It is finished. We've got to lock up all these criminal
politicians. You're going to go on preach there, Marcus.
Republican, especially boomers, not so much your generation, Travis, my generation. They're so easy to manipulate and distract, especially with things like actions in Venezuela and Iran. And then they just lose track. Oh yeah, we forgot about all those corrupt politicians that are still serving in Congress. They're still serving, and they're criminals. They should be in prison right now. So yeah, I'm pissed. I'm screw all that other stuff.
Well, and I do understand, because there's I'm always interested in different takes from the kind of the libertarian side. It's not the libertarian side I remember growing up with. There's a lot of different wild takes now over there. It's almost unrecognizable when I was volunteering back for Ron Paul way back when. But, the whole argument on the executive authority for doing this, not utilizing it through Congress, I'm still a big fan of that argument. I still think, just the executive, or no matter who it is, it didn't start with Trump. It's not like Trump started issuing the executive orders and it all consolidated power under him. But no, this has been an ongoing effort. I mean, the executive powers go way back. It was very clear in the founding of the country that when it comes to wartime scenarios, it's not the decision of the president. Now, you could go into the different arguments about whether is Venezuela a wartime scenario. And look, guys, I'm just going to make this easy for you. Yes. Capturing and I get he's a bad guy and all this. There's bad guys all over the place, folks. Going in, capturing their equivalent to the president over there, bringing him into justice for U.S. laws. But we're going to monitor and we're going to help transition this government. And we're going to bring in some of the American oil companies in there. Guys, that's war. That's war. You're going in and taking up the resources. So, yeah, guys, we're technically in a war with Venezuela. So that's not hyperbole. It's a technicality on there. And it's just, I just don't understand how we even, with the, you almost wonder about the wag the dog scenarios because the PR disasters from this administration have been nonstop. Dan Bongino comes back out into the public sphere and focuses on what appears to be the policing efforts of the thoughts and the speech of everybody who's part of the quote unquote MAGA movement. Now, Dan Bongino coming out and going after Matt Gaetz and things like this right off the cuff. It's what's called a bold strategy, Cotton.
It's not a bad look, Travis. It's a
horrible look. And the one thing he went after the media for was over how they covered an injury to his elbow or his shoulder. I got about a minute into that tirade, and I said, "This guy's dead in the water. He's done."
Hang on. Travis, I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
So Dan Bongino went on a show, and one of the big broadcasts he was talking about was going after the New York Times. He was tweeting about it.
New show? Was it? Okay. I'm sorry for my ignorance here. Please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is when he went back on air, and one of the things he's been doing is going after what he calls the black pillars.
Right.
And the black pillars being, anybody who's, here's the interesting thing about Trump being elected, right? Because people like you and me, I feel like we fall into this camp a little bit, where, we support Trump, but we're not exactly cult-like in our following as far as if he's going to do something wrong, we're going to call it out.
Right.
It's not.
He works for us.
That's the normal, and that's the other part of it. It's like, you can't even bring the conversation down to a level of just nuance and structured, articulate conversation. Instead, we get this WWE WrestleMania style conversation from Kristi Noem, from the DHS head, about this Renee Good. And then you got on the other side to it, talking about taking up arms and getting ready to do an insurrection against ICE and federal agents doing their job. This is a bad mixture that we're smack in the middle of it. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit, but we went off of, we knew what happened in the 2020 election. All right. So obviously, and we're seeing more reports now coming out from these different counties, pretty much just admitting it. But here we are, Mark. We're seeing counties admit that there was fraud going on in the election. But again, what's the main question we keep asking?
Where are the arrests?
Where is the deterrence for this happening moving forward? Where's the examples being made for the people that are obviously still involved at the county level in some of these places where they're finding this? And instead, what are we talking about? We're talking about Venezuela. Okay. So is this a distraction scenario? I don't know if I really buy into those kinds of things. It's definitely something that came out of left field. It definitely wasn't something on the agenda. The left, I've been seeing, has been putting out these videos showing Trump talk about no regime change, no regime change. I mean, somebody did this huge mashup clip, and it does make Trump look bad because he's making all these promises about these foreign conflicts. And here we are talking about Venezuela. And the other part to it is, some of the technology that was used in this raid, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty damn cool. I won't lie. It's pretty damn cool. I want to, you want to be able to cheer on this awesome technology and bring in, putting it up, but to someone like Maduro. And, I bet if I don't know much about it, but I bet you if I went and looked into it, I'm going to find something interesting about how Maduro came into power and how we probably had a role in helping him get up there. Now, as far as Venezuela is concerned, I mean, you take out a corrupt leader, we're just going to pretend like what Gary Webb never happened, that we don't understand or know about all the drugs that the CIA and the FBI and different elements of our government and military have been fostering into our own country, fostering into other countries as a weapon to disseminate, drug use, hardcore drug use in these other countries, depending on what our goals are and what we're trying to achieve. But this one in Venezuela, he's a bad guy, and socialism is bad. But the people in Venezuela have been voting for that shit for how long, Mark? I mean, why? You
Well,
take out
there's an
Maduro, you get
argument.
some pro-American Venezuelans. So okay, we're going to do this live on the air, but I'm already curious. Is there a refugee program ready for Venezuelans? It's coming.
I think that that's something you have to look at. I think the irony is that U.S. officials are saying that Maduro was elected because of a crooked electoral system that they have down there in Venezuela, and I'm like, well, no shit. But how
What about the crooked
about
one in our own
here?
country?
How about here? Listen. I would be jumping up and down, waving an American flag about going in and taking out Maduro because I'm a huge proponent of the Monroe Doctrine. But I can't get excited about the Venezuela thing while we still have tens of thousands of corrupt government officials and elected officials here in the U.S.
Got stolen elections here in our own country.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not even talking about any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But for those in the audience that may not be familiar with the Monroe Doctrine, talk about that for a little bit.
No, it's just simply, by the way, a lot of people might not know this, but James Monroe was probably the most popular president the USA has ever had. He was the only president to ever run unopposed. He literally ran unopposed. He was an amazing president. And basically what he came up with was, hey, anything in the Western Hemisphere, America is not going to get involved with anything going on over in Europe because, it used to be for, a couple thousand years, it was always the French fighting the Brits and the German. I mean, Europe has just always been a big mess. And America simply said, hey, you guys do your thing over there. Don't bring it over here. Anything that happens in the Western Hemisphere, we're going to be in charge of everything. And we're just not going to let any of that stuff happen. So anybody comes over here and starts messing in the Western Hemisphere, we're going to take initiative and clean it up. That's in a very, very cursory nutshell. That's what the Monroe Doctrine is.
Yeah. So if it's in your own backyard, theoretically, we're going to go ahead and get involved. And we're seeing this. We're seeing some. Apparently, there's going to be some land targets on these cartels in Mexico. We've talked about this before, me and you privately about. Yeah. Hey, if you are really serious about it, just go wipe out I don't think anybody's going to be like, no, don't shoot. Now, the problem we have, though, is who's doing it, right?
Yeah.
There's so little trust in our government and the actions that they're going to take that you can't even take their word for it. We're going to go and take out these cartels. And it's like, okay, is that really what they're doing? Are we just rearranging different groups to get into certain powers to do certain things? And then 10 years from now, we regurgitate the same kind of story, the same instances, and then we consolidate and get more power, whatever we're doing somewhere else. I mean, the hard truth of it is, and I think a lot of us, we're just so
cynical.
We're just so cynical and pessimistic because the FBI, the Pentagon, everything on those levels they haven't really done anything to prove we can trust them for anything as far as official stories or especially the official reasons that we're getting involved in some of these scenarios, because there's always another story to it. There's always another angle, and Joe Schmo public out here isn't going to get the PR campaign for what we're really doing, for what the real goals are. The public gets a dose and a messaging. It's like, and I stole this a little bit from Kyle Seraphin, but that's the WrestleMania slop that we get, so that we're all fighting with each other. And then on one time, you're just basically picking a side. It's like, hey, it's my president now, or it's my team in there now. So I'm okay. Yeah, let's go rip Venezuela to shreds. And then, if they start killing protesters in Iran, we're going to go back into Iran. This is getting old. It's getting very predictable. I think this is sucking every ounce of momentum. Well, I don't even think we have momentum at this point, but it's basically, what's the message to people that are kind of on the fence about the midterms? So that's kind of the gist of what I've consumed over the past 3 or 4 days from the GOP messaging. People going on Fox News, hearing from the government themselves is, look, listen, guys, Trust the plan. Did you see Department of Homeland Security putting out those X messages, and it looks just like QAnon stuff? You seen
Are
that?
you serious?
It looks just like QAnon. Same messaging. Trust the
Get your
plan.
popcorn, that type
We
of
are
stuff.
in
Trust the
charge.
plan.
Yeah, get your popcorn kind of deal.
Oh no!
And I'm looking at that, going, something is.
No.
Listen. This might offend some. This might be an official neoconservative administration at this point, because all the actions are kind of leaning this way. And again, I'm not taking away from any of the good stuff that's been done here, but what is the motivation for the people that helped get Trump over the finish line? Because a lot of the people that did that, they're kind of, maybe they're independent, maybe they're on the fence a little bit, maybe they were, Republican voters, but they just really had no incentive, no reason to get up and go get in there. And now these people are being told, trust the plan. Just trust in the guys. We don't work like that.
Bullshit.
It's not going to work like that. It's not going to trust in the plan. Just blindly do this. We don't work like that, guys.
No.
And I think I'm speaking for a lot of the base that'll do it, because now the message is, hey, yeah, Venezuela's bad. I get it. And not everybody's agreeing on anything, but hey, our midterms are coming up. So it's like, okay, so the message is, you may not agree with everything they're doing, but we can't lose the midterm. So we're just going to basically go and vote for the same shit to not be done. So what's the incentive to get up and go vote in the midterm now? What is it? What's the incentive? We had Doge in there. We had an opportunity during the shutdown to get rid of a lot of bad fiscal spending. We had, Tesla's dealerships getting bombed. No networks getting arrested in there. Just some small time arrest here and there. None of the people that are coordinated the buses that were being shipped into different areas around these dealerships. So the same system goes on. So, okay, go get in the midterms for what? So we don't lose. That's the message. That ain't going to get people to vote. So we don't lose. Well, at this point, it's like, you know what? Just let them take over. We know they're going to try to kill people and arrest people once they get into power. We know that if they lose the midterm, Trump's going to get impeached. It's coming.
Oh,
so that's the message. It's like, okay, we were told all these things about the Epstein files, and that is still a bumbling mess. I don't even want to cover it because it's so. I mean, they're still sitting on information at the DOJ. I warned people about Pam Bondi back in January. I warned everybody. I told everybody, if you go back and look at our shows from last year, I had a feeling about her, but given the benefit of the doubt, but then honestly, it was, and guys, I'm not like some everything's Israel, but the whole prioritizing the DOJ cases for anti-Semitic coffee shops in California. That was the first time that I said, we got a huge problem, right? We got a huge problem. Now, the momentum's gone. I mean, so we're go get involved in the midterm so we can elect Lindsey Graham again. Is basically.
Oh my God.
That's kind of. So the GOP is in this cycle of we just don't know how to win yet. Basically, and ever since Charlie Kirk got shot, it's a leaderless movement now. And man, folks, I can't tell you. I don't think we really appreciated how important Charlie Kirk was. I don't think we really did until now. Now that he's gone, now you got this shit show with Candace Owens, and then I saw Alex Jones getting involved, and then you got the TPUSA talking points, and then everybody is like, and the other part that makes it even more disinteresting to look at is you got this firing squad, so to speak, for these influencers, and they're all targeted at Candace and Tucker Carlson. It's like you can see the neoconservative arm kind of just taking the velvet glove off its iron fist, and it's telling you It's telling people who voted for Trump or people that consider themselves MAGA, just blindly follow, just blindly trust. We got midterms. We can't lose them. Everything's on the line here. And it's like, guys, every administration and election is going to be around the corner. So this is very discouraging. I'm sorry, but I didn't come in here on this Monday to just, be super pessimistic, but this is the reality we're in here, folks. How long will we play this game?
If we don't get our house cleaned up, because here's the deal, we'll lose the midterms, and all these criminal politicians and government officials and government employees, Travis,
we gotta see if there's no consequences, there's also no deterrence. If there's no deterrence, This is just going to be the same thing that keeps happening over and over again, to the tune of $9 billion.
That's
in one state. In one state. In one state.
What did Elon say when he was still doing the Doge thing? He said there was over $1 trillion in fraud. $1 trillion in fraud. If America can't get their shit together and fix this, Travis, I am telling you,
and look, there's a lot of the sentiment about this being beyond saving. We know these agencies like the FBI, they're done, man.
They're done.
There's nothing that can justify their existence.
You can't fix it. Department of Education.
Get your own team in there, right?
Think of public education. Public education will make the Somalia daycare thing look like literal pennies.
Well, and people,
public education
who uncovered that, this 23-year-old reporter that's doing a better job than our entire federal government and every mainstream media outlet and local news outlet anywhere near Minnesota, because that report he started was just going to enroll a child just to see how they could do it. And it's out of this world. And folks, I don't have to break this down for you. This is very Barney level stuff. Go and watch the clips of the Somalia people running that daycare and how they magically lost all the child records because they came on public TV for local press there in Minneapolis. Gets on the camera and talks about how their offices were broken into, and of all the things they stole the child records of everybody.
Check stubs. They stole check stubs, Travis. Check stubs.
And honestly, if you were in Somalia, that's the thing about these third world countries is, guys, corruption in their government is like it's a daily knowledge, and everybody knows, and nobody really cares. They just know it's happening, and you just try to get involved in there. So of course they're going to come on TV. They don't give a shit about defending themselves. No. Oh, well, somebody came and stole the records. It's like nobody's going to believe it, but they don't care. That's how they operate in third world countries, guys. So you're seeing a live example in America right now of what the transformation into a third world country looks like. And that's one small sample set. This is all over the place, folks. It's all over the place. And I just, this whole thing, okay, like I even get it. The whole getting involved in Venezuela and the people there will appreciate it. And he was a corrupt leader. And I don't care. I don't care. Now we're having another conversation about refugees from Venezuela. Guys, we haven't done our moratorium on immigration. It needs to all stop.
Stop. Every bit of it.
We can't keep going in. And then, of course, this is the same pattern, just like with the. And I get it. I don't. We're not bringing in all these troops in there. And I get this might be a little hyperbole, but it's a regime change plan, guys. Come on, like we're not that stupid, right? Like, right. This is obviously going to be. We're obviously going to be involved in whoever comes in there, because Lindsey Graham was on TV and he was talking about. He's like, oh man, this is just wonderful for President Trump to do this. But I'll tell you what, if we get Maduro out of there and then they keep voting the same people, well, we got the same problem, so we might as well get involved. It's like, there it is. If Lindsey Graham and John Bolton are cheering your policy on, you're failing the American people. It's that simple.
Yeah,
if Bill Kristol supports it, if John Bolton supports it, and if Lindsey Graham supports it, and if you get all three, you're lost, man. Your foreign policy is lost. You're pretty much Nikki Haley in there.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham is boners for bodies because, he's a flaming homo fag, but he also obviously gets sexually aroused from war and dead Americans and dead whoever else and everything. The man is deranged, but he loves it. He absolutely
just celebrating when we're getting involved in these bombing campaigns and all these kinds of things, and it's the real sick part of it is kind of the Christian overtone nature of it and the godly position to this. And it's anything but that, right? We know that. Me and you know that. I know a lot of our audience probably knows that, but ever since I was a teenager, I have never understood how people like Lindsey Graham continually stay in those positions.
And they keep getting reelected.
It's a boomer thing. I hate. Look, I'm not picking on nobody. But it is
no, it is a boomer thing.
Are like 5 to 10 years late to the party when it comes to this kind of, because we used to talk about the police state, getting trigger happy cops on the force and all these kinds of things. Like there actually is, and this is where things got really wild for me because I was paying attention a lot early on growing up. You're seeing the kind of the militarization of our police force. You're seeing the standard requirements go down. So you're getting some pretty unsavory characters in a lot of these positions. And it's not like a broad brush I'm painting here. Like all the cops we're not ACAB here. Okay. We're not Chaz. We're not the wacky left when we say these kinds of things, but these were obviously sound concerns that conservatives had. And now you flip it over now, and now we're like the opposite world. We're all about, beefing that up here. Now, that's not to say that a lot of the crime, you could solve this. I mean, if you would actually just enforce the laws that are already on the books, and to Mark's point, these prisons, guys, there's a lot that needs to go into arresting a lot of people and deporting a lot of these people. So, you're in this situation, and then you see what's happening here. Well, of course, we're going to cover what happened up in Minnesota, but there's some interesting takes and kind of my opinions that I'll take you guys all down, Mark, and hear your thoughts on that as we go through and covering this kind of stuff. But needless to say, man, it seems like we're just we're a headless chicken, right? Just kind of running around, wings flailing. We don't really know where to go. We know the midterms are down there, so we'll go run over there without our head, try to start picking at feed, only to realize like, oh, we're headless. So it's like,
Why'd you say headless chicken versus maybe a headless porpoise?
Because headless chicken tend to run around for a little while before they realize that they're dead.
Well, how do we know what headless porpoises do?
I've never tried anything with the headless porpoise. Because a lot of the farming folklore, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have experience chopping heads off chicken for butchering.
Yeah, wringing their neck or chopping their
head off. So they know, some of those chickens, some of them
they flop around
stay alive. Yeah, they stay alive a little bit.
I don't think people want to think about.
That's why I use the analogy to a headless chicken because
I
feel like that's kind of what we are. We don't even know that our head's cut off yet.
We
know there's a midterm.
Squirting blood everywhere.
And we're like saying hi to each other. Just kind of spraying all over each other. And
while Colonel Sanders is standing there looking at us, say, man, I got 11 herbs and spices ready for you. Right? You can't say that about a porpoise. Because people don't eat. We don't eat porpoise.
I'm not exactly like a political strategist. I'm just not big into that kind of thing. But
Big into what
The
kind of thing?
messaging that I'm seeing rolled out from the Trump, it ain't gonna work, dude.
No,
It ain't gonna
it's
work.
it's good. Now
Running
wait a
on
second.
Venezuela.
Hang on.
What's up?
It's not going to work on some, but Travis, unfortunately, it's going to work on the Fox News viewer. It's going to work on the boomers that listen to Clay and Buck.
Mm.
It's gonna work on them, Travis. It's going to work on them.
Well, and then the same cycle kind of continues again. And folks, I like Trump, man. I'm not, this isn't the anti-Trump podcast here, but
No,
we're also not a cult, guys. And
right.
look, he's just the advisors, everything he's going around with. If you've got Lindsey Graham in your ear and you're listening to him on your foreign policy, it's the complete opposite of what we voted for. The polar opposite. What you wanted to see is, Lindsey Graham out there mad that Trump's not doing certain things geopolitically. Instead, he's cheerleading it. And it seems to be that, he's flying on Air Force One with Trump. I mean, what are you doing, dude? Damn it, man. That's not.
Lindsey Graham should be one of the ones in jail.
Lindsey Graham absolutely should be one of the ones in jail. He's a sick. He is a
corrupt piece of shit. And people have already doged him, and they've already found a bunch of really corrupt shit on money coming back to him through Ukraine and all this other. Lindsey Graham is a corrupt politician that should be facing jail time, if not the hangman's noose, right now. He should.
Well, and again,
he has no fear of it. He has
I don't know.
Fear of it at all.
I don't know what the love affair is with Trump and Graham, but as soon as I saw some of the press articles and I do want to show the videos, but I think the feed will freeze up, so we're just gonna talk through it. But basically, Graham is buddying around with Trump. Constantly talking about foreign policy and these different and I bet you anything, dollars to donuts. I go into Google right now. I start looking at what Lindsey Graham's saying about the protest in Iran. It's oh god, it's just going to be an insufferable take. We know where it's going, but
as long as they're not talking about ladybugs, bro.
Do not Google Lindsey Graham and ladybugs.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Hey,
do it. Just
we did it.
Do it in a private. Do it in a private browser, maybe.
Jeez,
should I do
you
it?
Can look up. Hey, we covered it, so you can look up the Defiance Daily Show with Robert Pruitt, Lindsey Graham, and ladybugs, and do a search, and we'll come up on it. You can listen to it yourself. And Travis reads it. In fact, Travis read it live without knowing what it was. It was a beautiful thing. You didn't know, did you? And I said, hey, Travis, pull it up and read it. And he read it cold, on live, on air. You've got to see it. You got to see Travis's response, his reaction. And I don't think Travis ever really fully recovered from that. I think you still have, do you have a stutter every once in a while? Your wife says that you have a little PTSD from that still, Travis.
Yeah. So she was really confused the other day because I got into my car and a ladybug flew in the window and I just lost it. I just jumped out of her side of the car and I was covering my backside. And she says, why are you covering your butt? I said, there's ladybugs in there. She's like, Travis, but Lindsey Graham's not.
Oh God, Travis.
Lindsey Graham's not here, Travis. That was just the coverage on the show. And I was like, are you sure?
No, like, it's a real deal.
Sure I did lady. So I made sure I had her check me for ladybugs.
You'll never think of ladybugs the same ever again.
Oh God, Mom's going to Google it. Mom,
don't bros, don't do it. Oh God,
ladybugs,
dude.
Oh man, and it vanished from history. People are still think I don't know. That might actually be real.
No, I think it's real. I think it's real, Travis. I really do. I think it's real. I really do.
Well, here's the other thing too is, and I know my dad talked about this a lot, which was, the term limits. I always used to love watching him make Ted Cruz uncomfortable when they would do their fundraising and all that stuff. He'd talk about term limits because every single one of these people, they're going to dance around it, man. So, and we all know what kind of Ted Cruz. My mom said,
What?
ew.
She already looked at. Oh man,
Folks,
Oh.
I'll give the quick one on that one, which is
oh
Lindsey
God.
Graham orders
Oh,
an
God.
escort, comes up to the hotel.
Wait. What kind of escort, Travis? What sex was the? What pronouns did
Was
this
it a
escort?
male? Was
Yes,
it a
of
male?
course it was.
Okay,
Yes.
it was a male escort.
Yeah,
And
of course.
apparently, I guess Lindsay was, oh God, dude.
Hey, you
I'll
opened
put
up
it to you this way. The male escort saw the backside of Lindsey Graham and was wondering what all the clusters of
Well, he
stuff back
first
there
thought that he
was.
needed to. He thought he was not wiped.
He thought he had poopy on his boo-boo butt. But it turns out they were a bunch of moles, and Lindsey Graham calls them his ladybugs.
Ladybugs.
He says, don't worry about those. Those are my ladybugs.
Oh God, Travis. 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 Oh God.
I'm crying.
Travis. This is so sick, dude.
Oh, man.
Oh God.
All right. That kind of, I don't know why that popped in my brain, but these escort stories and all these things, this is real stuff, right? For those that aren't familiar, I always encourage you to look up the DC Madam case.
Yes.
And she
He's
ran
dead, by the way.
huge.
He's dead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She committed suicide by having
Shooting
5
herself
dudes
twice in the
SWAT
back
gear
or
hang her in
something.
her own garage where her mom
Yes.
could find her with
Right,
bruises
yeah.
all over her body, but she committed suicide. Kind of
Yep.
like the other fella that was tied to Epstein and the Clintons that had a electrical or extension cord around his neck and a shotgun blast in the middle of his chest that committed suicide somehow.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That one, that guy. Yeah.
Why don't let me find the
There's only about 70 or 80 really odd suicide victims around the Clintons that they make no sense whatsoever, including the boys on the track.
right. The boys on the track is the well, listen, so this was and DC Madam, that's Deborah Jean Palfrey. That's Deborah Jean Palfrey for those that are interested. I'll just give a high level real quick over this one, but we went to talking to ladybugs and escorts, so I just naturally had to go and the only escort story that I know of, besides the one maybe Matt Gaetz was involved in that Dan Bongino's trying to call out or something. This is if you want to know how, because I was 2008. How old was I? 2008.
13.
No, not 13. 2008. I can't really do math right now. I'm old.
It's okay.
Dude.
You're still, you got ladybugs on the mind.
I got ladybugs on the mind. But anyway, this was back in 2008. Deborah Jean Palfrey comes on the Alex Jones show. And I was listening to Alex Jones since early 2000. Like I remember hearing the predictions about 9/11 that Tucker Carlson always brought. Anyway, she comes on the Alex Jones show. Now, the DC Madam, they called her. She ran a huge brothel. She was connected to all kinds of stories from these escorts hearing about things about 9/11, pre-knowledge about 9/11, people that were insiders on planes not flying that day and all this kind of stuff. This is all that really happened that kind of opened this up, according to Deborah Jean Palfrey, which was she was looking to move to Europe. No reason. She was, how old was she at that time? She was 52. So 52 in DC, running an escort services, obviously making great money doing it, very discreet. So when she looked at moving to Europe, all of a sudden she started getting hit with these charges. And she's like, nobody's ever come after me before. It's like I'm being monitored. She started noticing she was being followed everywhere. And really what happened was towards the end of her life, she kept getting back on the broadcast and she would talk about her case and a little more that's coming out with it. And what she stated on the show, I remember, was that She thinks by her simply packing up to move to Europe, that somehow flagged somebody that was obviously monitoring her. And then when they saw she was moving to Europe, they thought she was getting ready to talk about stuff.
Mhm.
And then the charges come, and then they start going after her. And then it got really interesting after that. So this is from Wikipedia, so bear with me. I'll fill in the gaps where I don't think some of this is correct. She was Deborah Jean Palfrey, was dubbed the DC Madam, operated Pamela Martin and Associates, an escort agency in Washington, D.C. Although she maintained that the company's services were legal, she was convicted of racketeering using the mail for illegal purposes and money laundering. So she wasn't even hit with charges of prostitutions or running a prostitution ring, interestingly enough. Slightly over 2 weeks later, facing a prison sentence of 5 to 6 years, she was found hanged. Autopsy results and final police investigative reporting concluded that her death was a suicide. So, in June 2004, the United States Postal Inspection Service and IRS began an investigation into illegal prostitution business being run in Washington, D.C. During the course of the investigation, Palfrey was identified as the operator of the ring. In October 2006, agents with the United States Postal Inspections posed a couple who were interested in buying Palfrey's home as a means of accessing her property without a warrant. Agents subsequently froze bank accounts worth over $500,000 in seized paper relating to money laundering and prostitution charges. As her case proceeded, it was revealed that Palfrey's escorts charged as much as $300 per hour, and many have had professional careers. Palfrey continued to reside in California and cleared some $2 million over 13 years in operation. She appeared on ABC's 2020. Let me see here. So in response to Palfrey's statement that she had 10 to 15,000 phone numbers of clients, several clients' lawyers contacted Palfrey to see whether accommodations could be made to keep their identities private. Ultimately, ABC News, after going through what was described as 46 pounds of phone records, decided that none of the potential clients were sufficiently newsworthy to bother mentioning. Where have we heard something a little bit similar, Mark?
God, man. It's
little Epstein stuff. Guys, so what I'm trying to convey here is even the illegal stuff that's happening with our politicians or people in these bureaucracies, they're monitored nonstop. Okay. They know every detail for every illegal piece of activity that's going on. And when news agencies start getting in there, and then the heads of them, there's nobody worth mentioning in there. Kind of like the Epstein stuff. There's nobody really worth mentioning in there. We don't know who these people are. They may have been innocent in clearing some of this stuff out. Anyway, of course, on July 9th, 2007, David Vitter acknowledged they had been a customer of her escort service. 13 former escorts and 3 former clients testified at her trial. However, ABC News only published 2 of the names they had identified, who were already have known to be clients of Palfrey. Doesn't that strategy sound a little familiar, Mark?
Yeah, go. Bold strategies, Cotton. Bold.
Yeah, State Department official, a Defense Department official, a journalist. Yeah, they would not publicize any names. So just the media's was part and parcel as far as protecting the government and the people involved with it, of course. Yeah, the witnesses were compelled to testify after being granted immunity from prosecution. So in May of 2007, a team at ABC News reported on their efforts to determine the identity of the clients. They reported how many of Palfrey's clients phoned from hotel rooms to obfuscate their identities. They found some clients had exaggerated their importance. One who had bragged about his role in evacuating colleagues from the White House on 9/11. Anyway, the jury did find her guilty of money laundering, using the mail for illegal purposes, and racketeering. So Palfrey believed that, contrary to the U.S. Attorney's lower U.S. Attorney's Office lower estimate she might spend 6 to 7 years behind bars. She faced a maximum of 55 years in prison. Okay, so she gets convicted, and a month later, May 1st, 2008, 2 weeks following her conviction. And I remember this. This is key. Because after her conviction, she said, you know what? The way I was playing this, I wasn't really being aggressive trying to find deals to lower my sentence. But if they're going to throw the max penalty at me, then I'm talking. That's what she came on air and said. And that's when Alex Jones told her, stay on air right now. You're not suicidal. You're not. I remember this like it was yesterday. She gets on the air. Absolutely. She says she's going to fight this. There's going to be more coming out. She might as well just spill the beans on everything out. If they're just going to go after her and she's just trying to move, and obviously she's being watched and monitored, she's just going to spill the beans on everything. So on May 1st, 2008, 2 weeks, and following an Alex Jones appearance where she said she was not suicidal, Palfrey was found hanging in a storage shed outside her mother's mobile home in Tarpon Springs, Florida. Police found handwritten suicide notes in the bedroom where she was staying, dated a week before her death. The autopsy and final police investigation concluded her death was a suicide. Of course, her death resulted in her conviction being vacated. So as far as everything related to the court and who might have been involved in that, poof, there it goes. Palfrey's 2 handwritten notes were released to the public, and one of them she wrote to her sister, "You must comprehend there was no way out, i.e. exit strategy for me other than the one I have chosen here." Just come on, man. In another, she described her predicament as a modern day lynching. She said that she feared that at the end of serving her sentence, she would be in my late 50s, broken, penniless, and very much a lone woman. Yeah. So New York Times, it was Patrick Lyons. Yeah. He tried to pick this story back up about the skepticism involved in the suicide conclusion. Oh, here's another. Oh my God. I forgot about this, man. This is starting to pop up now. Kind of the memory. In early 2007, Palfrey learned of the death, apparently through suicide, of hanging of Brandy Britton, one of her former escort service employees. Palfrey reacted to this news by saying, "I guess I'm made of something that Brandy Britton wasn't made of." According to her former attorney, she even took extraordinary step of writing directly to the prosecutor, promising to show more resolve than Britton. Yeah, and basically, the Wikipedia goes on to talk about how this was. Now, what's not labeled in here, because it does say the family believes the letters were written by her. The mom was absolutely beside herself when she found her daughter like this. She said there was bruises on her arm, there was bruises on her back, that none of that was taken into account and during the autopsy and whatnot. So anyway, the point being is, if there is a ladybug story out there, it's really not far-fetched to think that if you get privy to too many ladybugs, you might you might die. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, that's
spontaneous combustion. Weirder things happen.
Spontaneous combustion. Yes. Anyway, rest in peace, Deborah Jean Palfrey. But that was a awful story.
And
but Travis, also just a little tiny glimpse into the reality of everything that happens around. So everything illegal that does happen, just like with Epstein, it's recorded. It's out there, man. It's recorded and everything. So
yeah, and unfortunately, like if these were prostitutes, they were madams, they were, they just weren't socially acceptable. They're looked down upon and all that, which is fine. I mean, we don't need to be socially accepting of all these different things. But unfortunately, proper attention has not been given to this case. And people tend to blow stuff off like that because, well, they were, prostitutes, this, that. Yeah, maybe they were. But listen, man, they murdered her. And It's all these corrupt politicians, and it's a bunch. Travis, you know it, I know it, and it ain't just all Democrats. There are countless numbers of Republicans. Every Democrat, maybe with the exception of John Fetterman, possibly, maybe not being corrupt. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a shadow of doubt, possibly, but I'm telling you, the vast majority of Republican politicians, they're corrupt as dirt. They're as bad as
well, now what we're starting to see is, even if they're not corrupt, we're talking about a heavily self-obsessed,
horrible,
kind of narcissistic. These are psychopaths, guys. I mean, I hate to say, like, I look at Dan Bongino now, looking at all his tirades. It's like, dude, this guy's a psycho. He's just a psycho.
Why would
you feel like you're in this position now where you're going to be the voice to police what the right narrative is versus the wrong one? Dude, you fucked that up when you stared at a camera and you said Epstein killed himself.
Like,
come on.
Exactly.
Man. Come on. So his credibility is gone. It's gone. He's pretty much, to me, he's just another neocon to me.
Travis, if Dan Bongino was an honest, legitimate, sincere individual, what he would have done was he would have said, guys, I can't go into any details. I wish I could. Did I lie about saying that Epstein killed himself? Look, you just have to trust me that I'm going to tell you right now, I can't do it. You can come to your own conclusions. Why I said what I said. I was in fear for my family's safety, some other things. It doesn't mean what I did was right, but I'm just asking you to forgive me, show some grace, and understand that I can't if he would have taken that tack, I could have at least said, you know what, this is a human being. I have no idea what he was threatened with, but that makes sense. And I could have at least shown some grace. But when he comes out, Travis, and he's just swinging haymakers at people that are simply asking, dude, he's
throwing the anti-Semitic thing. So now it's like, whenever the left just calls you a racist or a Nazi, that's how I know it's like, there's no argument to be made over here. This is just WrestleMania crap. When I hear the anti-Semitic thing, it's the same thing now. I look at it as the same thing as when the left calls you a racist. It's the same damn thing. It's the same tactics. It's not enough. Okay, so there was that big TPUSA event, and Shapiro gets up there, and it's all about attacking other people within the, I hate to say movement, but what is this? Like, this is so people like Ben Shapiro and Bill Kristol and Dan Bongino, those are going to be the vocal points that we're going to follow? I don't think so. It's not going to work, number one. And listen, a lot of these folks, everybody's got their strengths, right? Ben Shapiro's phenomenal at social debate, the social circumstances, and the very smart fella. And I like listening to him. But as soon as he starts talking foreign policy, I'm out the door. I mean, everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. I don't think he'd prioritize. Yeah, he's definitely, and a lot of, we're coming to find out, a lot of these people are, that's the whole reason why Ted Cruz got into Congress, Mark.
Well, exactly.
It's the nearest and dearest thing to Dan Bongino's heart. This is the weirdest shit. And honestly, I used to really I didn't really care about this, the whole Israel stuff. I just didn't care. I mean, when I say I didn't care, it's not like, oh, okay, everybody, they run everything. And there's a lot of people on the left that just made it stupid, just overarching, non-credible stuff. I mean, the left just hates Israel. That it's that simple. They hate Jewish people and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But this kind of stuff here now, it's not, remember it's not enough to not be racist, right? You remember that? You got to be pro non-racist. You got to be vocal. You got to be getting out on the street and bringing your family. And it's right? And we're seeing the same tactics with the whole anti-Semitic stuff. It's not enough to be anti-Semitic. You've got to condemn Tucker Carlson. You've got to condemn Candace Owens. And
You got to
regardless of
celebrate
whatever you
Hanukkah.
think about them, guys, this is not the arena that we're all supposed to be playing in. Okay.
Right.
That's the left's arena. We don't do this kind of shit here. So the more that they're going to go on and do this kind of stuff and try to claim, well, they're damaging the movement. They're damaging Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson isn't damaging the momentum for the midterms. You are.
Right.
The administration is doing that all on its own. Okay. You got Susan Wiles out there and these donor class people that are, you're going to talk about like that. That's what is the campaign strategy as far as, backing candidate, and you're going to go in primary Massey. Folks, Massey ain't getting primaried. Massey's been around a lot longer than Trump in a lot of these areas, and whatever you think about him or whatnot.
If that's your
you already got Taylor Greene out of there, and yeah, she's a little wacky, guys. But do you really think that's a healthy thing for Republicans, is to have these kind of lone gunmen out there, so to speak, on these issues that really most of the people in the base they want addressed?
Yes.
So, as far as you can't blame influencer personalities for the momentum in the midterms. Having an FBI that's constantly lying, having narratives that consistently fall apart, having stories that don't make sense, saying Epstein killed himself when he clearly didn't, bashing anybody that questions the official narrative around Charlie Kirk's assassination. Folks, we're still figuring out stuff about Thomas freaking Crooks. Okay. The FBI created a rapid response X feed just to respond to people like Tucker, putting out more information than the FBI's ever given us. Now we got this pipe bomber, this Brian Cole Jr. And we're going to get into this because, folks, this looks really bad. And it looks worse for people like Dan Bongino.
Yes.
You're gonna really harp. Oh, we got him. No, you don't. You don't got him. You don't got him. And I do encourage if there's people or podcasts I've been listening to lately, and you really do want to get, because Kyle Serafin's FBI whistleblower, who was involved in the January 6th ordeal, doing some really good reporting there. But I always recommend go checking out the Kyle Serafin show. And they bring on Steve Baker. Now, Steve Baker is the lead journalist. He was the one that's working with the Blaze that first came out with the CIA officer, that female, that they identified as the suspect. And then a week later, Dan Bongino's, I got sat down and they gave me a call and they said, we got him. We got him. 5 years later, we got him. And then you go and you look at the affidavit, the pattern with the charging in Brian Cole, and wait till you hear about the confession that they had in there and what people are saying about them. Guys, this is Patsy stuff 101. And Bongino out there defending this kind of stuff only makes you look more of a shill. And now, it goes back to what I used to question before, Mark, which is how many of these influencers and these people that we followed, they say all the right things for years, and then we give them a chance, and then we're yoinked. And now he's out there bulldogging all the people questioning these narratives against these stories, and he didn't achieve a single fucking thing. He didn't do anything.
Arrest.
And he doesn't want to own it, but he's been in the position, Mark. See, he knows. He's been nose to the grindstone. Y'all shouldn't talk about things you don't know about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't. So he's either incompetent, he's either in on it, or he's just another narcissistic, psychopathic personality. Yeah. Climbing the ladder of self-importance for the airwaves. And is it monetary? Is it clout? Maybe it's a combination of both, but it's not a good
one. Travis, this one that there's this latest quote unquote suspect pipe bomber, this black young man, autistic, whatever. Okay. You've looked into it more than I have, but when we use the term autistic and on the spectrum and I say this respectfully, look, I got a grandson that's on the spectrum. He's autistic. So I'm not hating on nobody. Okay. I just have a little fun. Anyway, is this guy, is he like obviously retarded, or is it just if you have a
Officially
conversation?
diagnosed. He's officially diagnosed spectrum.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, on the Forrest Gump level, Forrest Gump being a 4 or 5 or maybe
He
6.
might be a couple notches below Forrest. So apparently this guy, so Brian Cole Jr., it's so what, and I really need to open up the article to get into it, but essentially what happened is the government, remember they told us, by the way, initially they didn't have the cell tower ping data to coordinate to get, the right people captured. All of a sudden they found it in this case though. And it's got Brian Cole somewhere in the vicinity of where the bombs are placed. The problem is the technology that's being used,
Which means what? Somewhere in the vicinity. What does that mean? Okay, what does
to
that
me, it means, hey, our cell tower picked up a guy that we can use. That's really what I think it is. Because, I mean, and these cell towers, like, whenever you get the ping data, it'll put you on a map somewhere, but it's not actually congruent with where you actually are, apparently, is what I've been listening to, what the explanation is on this technology. You can't really rely on it, basically, but the government is. And they also had some interesting things with their filing deadline on this stuff, and it looks really bad. Not only that, this guy walks with a overarching lurch. And at one point of the video feed on their surveillance camera that's been released to the public, you see what appears where she's clearly adjusting her bra. So it's not the guy. It's just you can look at the video and look at this guy, and it's not him.
That's my next question. I thought when we had this chick, this employee, she was a member of the whatever Secret Service or Department of Homeland. I thought she was the one. She was the one. Okay,
That's what we were told. That's what we were told.
Well, okay.
It's looking, because here's the other part too, is this blue Sentra that this pipe bomber was driving. And apparently the one that's caught on their surveillance video doesn't show him in that car. The one that's passing by that correlates with the time frame and where the pipe bombs were dropped shows 2 females in the damn car. Not this guy. Not Brian Cole Jr., who's known to walk around with headphones everywhere he goes in public, goes to the same gas station to pick up the same thing, does every OCD type of behavior as far as wiping his phone and doing all these types of things. I'm going to try to do my best to break down in here. But Steve Baker and Kyle Seraphin, they're the original reporters on this stuff, and they've got the goods. I highly recommend people going and check them out. If I had some of the video I could share and it wouldn't bog my system down, I'd try to share some of this. But let me see if I can get let me see if I can get into this real quick. Bear with me, folks.
The reason I'm asking this stuff, I'm not trying to be difficult, okay? And I'll, in full disclosure, I have not followed this. I know you followed this because this is like really up your wheelhouse, Travis, and it is mine too. I'm very, very curious about it. I get so freaking angry and frustrated. I just want to kill and break things. But I just ask these questions because look at the Vegas shooter, which, by the way, if those that have not checked out the Tucker Carlson interview with the gentleman where they go into all the details on the Vegas shooter, you've got to watch that.
Is that the one with Ian Carroll? He had Aaron Carroll on the show.
I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, I saw pieces of that, folks. I had no idea that there was unbelievable. There was multiple calls in different areas about people being shot up. I had no clue.
Travis,
and definitely belt-fed automatic gunfire.
Yes, and not only
without a doubt,
ballistic evidence, multiple ballistic evidence that many of these people that were shot from directly overhead.
That's right.
Directly, not down,
almost as if helicopter fire. And we've got nothing. We've got nothing. And really, to me, until we get answers to everything, going all the way back to JFK. Going all the way back to World War I, that torpedo in the harbor,
Yeah,
right?
Until we
Yeah,
find out, until we get an honest accounting of what we were lied to and do that, then we could start making the steps to say, hey, maybe the institution is trying to get right. But as it stands right now, it ain't going to happen. And the FBI should just be,
disbanded.
and we've talked about this on the show too. I feel like we're at the point where every state needs to reassert its right for self-determination.
Amen.
Because there's no other
Localized,
leverage
baby.
that the states have now to be able to do this.
The
And
Confederacy had it
honestly,
right.
it's like it's not. Once the cover-up's done, that's it, guys. You're not getting answers to this stuff.
Nope.
I mean, that's really kind of the reality to it. And so then if that's the case, then every single one of these stories we're just going to keep going through this. We're just going to doubt it even more and more. It doesn't matter if my team's in there, or your team's in there, whatever the case. They're going to keep lying to you because the only role for these agencies, no matter the changing of the guard, it's self-preservation. That's the only role of these giant institutions, is to preserve itself.
Exactly.
They will lie to you. Matter of fact, they might go set off a bomb somewhere and blow some people up just to keep their funding going if they have to.
Bingo.
Like, that's the level of evil and kind of directed control towards the population. I don't think people can really comprehend how bad it really is. Does it mean that every single person in the FBI is bad? No, absolutely not. Most of the people in there are just normal people. The CIA, same thing, and a lot of these different department agencies. So I think a lot of people get caught up in like, oh, everybody who works in there has this cynical bad guy, and they got this. It doesn't work like that. There's layers to different departments and what's called compartmentalization. This department covers these things. There's silos in that department. This one does this role. This one does another. They don't know what these are doing right here. All right. So there's kind of a need to know basis in a lot of these agencies. So that's how a lot of this stuff gets covered up. Now, if you get to a higher position in there and you are a bad guy, well, then that's all you need. You don't need 1,000 employees under you to do this kind of stuff. So we keep talking about the holdovers from the previous administration. It's like these are holdovers from previous. This is basically a parasite that you're talking about. It's just going to keep going, right?
Yes.
And now, even just generally, the population itself is so corrupt, like down to the local level. Now, there's hardly any honor anymore in our society. And this is exactly kind of the third world route you go into, where the corruption is so widespread. It's even just down to just regular old folks. If they get into that position, they think, oh, hey, I could get ahead this way. They're probably going to do it. And I always said people that tend to gravitate towards political positions are a little bit psychopath. I don't mean to offend anybody I know that are listening to the show, but you do have to, if you're craving those positions, I always felt like if I got in a position, I don't want to do that. That's kind of the people we need in there. The people that don't want that power. They don't want that responsibility, and they constantly want to do the right thing. And some of them do get in there, and then they end up, getting fired. They end up getting arrested. Anyway, digressing along those lines. Let's go into this pipe bomber case. So nearly 5 years after 2 pipe bombs were planted outside the Democratic and Republican national headquarters on January 5th, 2021, federal authorities arrested 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, Virginia. By the way, one thing they don't talk about in here is him hanging around at the Black Caucus, Congressional Caucus. There's some event center for the Black Caucus up there. Where apparently they were contemplating doing the pipe bomb. And so keep that in mind when I go through this, and why, especially when we get to the motive, this is some wacky stuff. The arrest followed a controversial investigation marked by competing narratives, a retracted theory implicating a female Capitol police officer, and persistent questions about the timing and thoroughness of the FBI's 5-year manhunt. So for those that don't remember, The Blaze came out with an article with, it's called, oh man, I can't remember the name of the technology. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. But anyway, The Blaze came out with a high degree of certainty that they located who the pipe bomber was based on the forensic analytics digitally on the walk, the talk, the pattern, and the behavior. And they identified this female Capitol Police officer. Now, and then a week later, after that report came out, Steve Baker, who was running the charge on that article, and he's still consistent. He knows, he's been saying, I've been listening to what he knows it's not the guy. This ain't the bomber. It's just not the bomber.
And this guy's a former FBI agent, right? Or
Steve Baker, I'm not sure. Let me look.
maybe not. I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. Disregard it. It's not. I'm thinking of somebody else. But he's pretty reliable source, right?
To my understanding, correct. Let me see here. I'm just going to the Wikipedia page. Let's see. God, I hope I'm not getting that word right. Anyway, let me go on here. This report. So we're going to look at the official case against Cole, and yeah, just after 5 years, basically, folks, the Blaze comes out with this incredible article. You're seeing the surveillance video. You're matching up the analytics. It looks pretty sufficient, pretty good reporting. And then boom, the FBI arrests this Brian Cole Jr. guy. And let's just get into this. So I'm just going to kind of re-highlight some of this detail here, and we'll get into this. In November 2025, the Blaze published what it described as an explosive investigation identifying a former U.S. Capitol Police officer as the pipe bomber. Steve Baker, who had previously been arrested for his participation in January 6th, billed the story as potentially the biggest scandal and conspiracy in American history. The Blaze's reporting claimed a forensic gait analysis, that's GAIT, that's what it's called, showed a 94 to 98% match between the walking pattern of the former police officer and the suspect captured in surveillance footage. The article included multiple photographs of the woman and cited unnamed sources close to the investigation who allegedly uncovered evidence pointed towards law enforcement and possibly being involved in the planting of the pipe bombs. The theory, of course, gained traction within the Trump admin. So Tulsi Gabbard, under the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, drafted a memo identifying the woman based on tips from media-affiliated sources. The media circulated among senior Trump officials, creating expectations that the case would be solved. Carrie Lake, who leads the U.S. Agency for Global Media, shared the Blaze report on social media with an eyeball emoji, suggesting the former officer was part of a protective detail for director John Ratcliffe. Now, the entire narrative collapsed when the woman provided an alibi, video evidence showing her playing with her puppies at the time the bombs were planted. The FBI subsequently ruled her out as a suspect. Following Brian Cole's arrest, the Blaze retracted its article, adding an editor's note stating it was removing the story in the interest of fairness and accuracy. And of course, her attorney came out saying, that basically ruined her life and didn't do anything good for her. So they poo-pooed all over the Blaze there with regard to that. And there's some I know there's some angles on this that I'm not covering in here on as far as that alibi is concerned. I'm going to have to look that up from Seraphin's view. So let me get to that part of the article. So former FBI Special Agent Kyle Seraphin, who describes himself as a whistleblower, has been central in this official investigation. Seraphin claimed that in the first week after January 6th, his surveillance team was assigned to monitor a person of interest in the Falls Church area of Virginia. He described receiving an unusually clear-cut path on why they were pursuing an unknown subject, suggesting the FBI had specific intelligence early in the investigation. Seraphin's relationship with FBI leadership has deteriorated. After initially being suspended during the Biden administration, reinstated under Trump, he has become increasingly critical of the Bureau's handling of the January 6 cases. When FBI Director Kash Patel announced Cole's arrest, Seraphin responded on social media, "You can actually hear the shovel hitting the nonsense, right? Is it just me?" The situation escalated when fellow FBI whistleblower Steve Friend, who was fired by Patel after making veiled threats on Seraphin's podcast, The veiled threats, by the way, were talking about praying to whatever Indian god he could pray to before it was possible. He was thinking Kash Patel would end up going to jail. Kash Patel got wind of it, fired him, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Yeah, he suggested Cole's arrest was a put-up job and part of a cover-up, stating that the FBI was just damn thirsty to get a dad so the president could be proud. Friends' comments about invoking God's wrath against Patel led to his termination. So Patel framed it as if he was threatening his life, which he wasn't, and used that to axe him there. Okay, so Brian Cole. Let's talk about Brian Cole Jr., 30 years old, resides in Woodbridge, Virginia, approximately 30 miles south of the U.S. Capitol. He lives with his mother and other family members in a 5-bedroom house on a quiet cul-de-sac. Cole works in the office of his father, a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. Cole's parents divorced in October 2020, just 2 months before authorities alleged he planted the bombs. He has no criminal record. He was not registered to vote. At 5 feet 6 inches tall, he wears corrective eyeglasses, details that match the FBI's height analysis of the subject. Neighbors described Cole as a reclusive presence who frequently took lengthy walks around the neighborhood with his pet chihuahua, often wearing headphones. Multiple residents noted his peculiar habit of wearing shorts and red Crocs regardless of the weather conditions. One neighbor described
application.
Say what now?
That almost sounds like a dating site application.
Yeah. One neighbor described the dramatic FBI arrest. This is the FBI. Would possess a federal search warrant. Exit the house with your hands raised. A high school classmate who rode the bus with Cole described him as friendly but quiet. He didn't stand out. As far as I remember, he was well behaved and quiet. His step grandfather, Earl Donnett, confirmed speaking with the FBI about Cole, but declined further comment. So the affidavit and the evidence. Let's go through this here. The FBI affidavit presents what prosecutors call overwhelming evidence. The evidence includes purchases of pipe bomb making materials between 2019 and 2020. Cole purchased components matching those used in the pipe bombs, including 6 galvanized pipes, 12 black end caps, and 2 galvanized end caps from 4 different Home Depots, 5 9-volt battery connectors from Micro Center, 2 white kitchen timers from Walmart, 14-gauge electrical wire in red and black from Home Depot and Lowe's, steel wool from Home Depot. Now, what's interesting, and I'm not seeing this in here, between 2019 and 2020. So, okay, I'm trying to find the... Okay, let me, I'm just going to rush through all this and then we'll go back to the commentary. So I'm going to try to keep my focus here. Here's the other piece of evidence. The FBI cellular analysis survey team, that's CAST, analyzed Cole's phone records showing 7 data sessions, transactions between 7:39 p.m. and 8:24 p.m. on January 6, 2021, consistent with the bomber's path. The phone connected to 5 different cell phone towers, each matching surveillance footage locations. License plate reader, a reader captured on Cole's 2010 Nissan Sentra, less than a mile from where the bomber first appeared on foot. FBI photography estimated the suspect's height is 5'7", within a 1.1 inch margin of error. According to court documents, Cole initially denied involvement during his December 4th arrest. This is important to note. So initially when he was arrested, he denied it. However, after FBI investigators showed him a still image from surveillance footage, he confessed approximately 2 hours into the interview. Cole allegedly told investigators he acted alone, constructing the pipe bombs in his bedroom using black powder he learned to make from a video game and YouTube videos. He claimed inspiration from the Troubles in Northern Ireland, where paramilitary groups frequently use pipe bombs.
Travis, come on, dude. Are you being Travis, are you being serious right now?
This black guy living in his mom's basement was inspired by what was happening in Northern Ireland.
The IRA, really?
And he knew this election was going to be bad. That's why he was buying his pipe bomb making materials a year before it happened. 2 years. 1 year, 2 years before it happened. Come on. Anyway, okay. His stated motive was frustration with both political parties. Here's a quote. "I really don't like either party at this point," he told agents. "Something just snapped after watching everything getting worse." Cole expressed relief the bombs didn't detonate, claiming he'd planted them at night to avoid casualties. Okay. So basically, this guy with no criminal history, living in his mom's basement, goes around wearing red Crocs in sub-freezing temperatures, headphones all the time. Even the gas station attendant would say this was frequent. He bought the same thing almost every day, always wore the same headphones, didn't really acknowledge people, would walk around with his head down. For a year, almost 2 years leading up to the election, knew it was going to be bad, and he just snapped and decided to look up on YouTube the material he made for his bombs for over 2 years. Okay. And decided he just had enough. Both of these political parties, I'm just going to plant bombs and all this kind of stuff. Now, the interesting notes that I've been hearing from the FBI or ex-FBI officials on there is that in the affidavit itself, they're talking about the viability. They don't usually use that verbiage on bombs. The bomb is either something that can detonate or it's not. There's no viable bomb. So there's really a lot of question as to, was this bomb really set to explode or not? That's not exactly clear with the investigation so far. So, and that's his motive. He was just frustrated with both political parties. So he's in the interview or interrogation for 2 hours. He's denying his involvement in it. Okay. Now they come back, they show him a still image where he's walking. By the way, folks, it was 7:39 p.m. How many people are walking around in the same vicinity? Okay. He's not the only one on their surveillance video. There's a bunch of people that are going back and forth on here, but they show him that. And then what I saw in the transcripts was once they showed him that picture, they left him alone for 20 minutes. And then they come back into the room and they start interrogating him some more. And that's when this confession starts rolling out. See where I'm getting at?
Was his attorney present? Did you say that?
No attorney. Okay.
Okay. Can I just say something here? Say something here? I understand how the law works, and you read a Miranda right. One of the reasons why you read the Miranda rights is that you tell your suspect that they have the right to an attorney, and if you can't afford one, the state will provide you one. And everybody, if you've seen a cop show, you've heard this. In a case this large, prosecutors, the DAs would almost tell the cops, look, guys, we don't even care if he's not asking for an attorney. We get him a freaking attorney.
We need a conviction.
Because if you don't, this is going to come back. He's mentally challenged. In other words, this whole thing it stinks, man.
It's just another stinky one, right? Because the family now apparently from what I was listening to this morning, this kid's attorneys are kicking ass, and some people are wondering if he's got attorneys now. He's got a whole group on it.
Okay.
And during the initial hearing, like once they got in there, his whole family is behind him. There's obviously a clear show of support because from the takes that I've been listening to, and I do kind of trust these takes a little bit, but they're saying that it doesn't appear the FBI really structured this case well enough to get a conviction out of it. There's almost a feeling that they might be punting this out the door because nobody wants their hands on it. Nobody wants their hands on it because apparently one of the charges, there's a statute of limitations, which was passed just the hours before the affidavit was supposed to be filed.
No bullshit.
Oh yeah.
No way.
Yep.
Are you
So they've
Okay,
already screwed up one of the convictions that they're trying to do it with. And not only that, this OCD autistic behavior, folks, for those of you that know, or maybe you know loved ones or have loved ones or seen them, the OCD element to this is a real thing. Constantly wiping your phone, doing these kinds of, and by the way, he was doing it well before January 6th, like 2 years before that. And then a couple hours before his arrest. And here's some of the other parts to it. Post-bombing behavior. Prosecutors note that Cole continued purchasing bomb-making materials even after January 6th, including January 21st, 22nd, 23rd. His cell phone underwent 943 factory reset wipes between December 2020 and December 2025, including one roughly 3 hours before his visit. So, okay, let me just get this straight here. You got this guy that's wiping his phone almost like a 943 times. That is a obsessive compulsive disorder. If you're autistic and you're constantly trying to structure your stuff, that's actually not an unusual thing.
right?
But why wipe your phone if you're going to continually be on camera buying more bomb making materials?
Right. Yeah. Something is.
So you wiped your phone before that, before your arrest, and then, but you kept buying. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would you keep buying? Were you gearing up for the next election you were going to be upset about?
And okay, now, Travis, here's something else to be careful with. It's not to say that crooks, criminals, people that have committed murder, rape, all have not done weird stuff, have not done stuff that you look back and go, that was really stupid. It's not that they don't do that. It's just what it is it's just one more layer that makes you pause and go, wait a second. And if you get enough of that, if you get enough layers and enough things that just look really weird, you at some point have to start asking questions about.
Well, and apparently, if you listen to Steve Baker's reporting on this, and he's interviewed a lot of the person of interest in the investigation that were flagged, because I believe there was 3, and he's obviously very upset with this affidavit. As a matter of fact, and I really should be doing a better job reporting this, because he's all over this case, man. But let's go through some of this real quick. Of course, let's just go over the obvious inconsistencies just real quick. Why did it take nearly 5 years to identify a suspect when the FBI possessed substantial evidence early on? Guys, the way they approached this with this Brian Cole guy, and even on Fox News, where hurrah, hurrah, we got the guy, we finally figured out right after the Blaze released their report. That's a little suspicious. Now, Serafin's outfit, his surveillance team, when he was part of the FBI, was monitoring a person of interest in Falls Church within the first week, suggests the Bureau had viable leads that were not pursued to conclusion at the time. The FBI's own timeline shows they had surveillance footage from January 5th. They had cell tower data from the same night. They had credit card purchase records and license plate reader. They didn't have it 5 years ago, but Mark, they got it all now. They got it all now. Now they got everything to do this conviction. I don't think this conviction is going to stick, by the way. Critics argue Cole's arrest represents a rushed conclusion to a potentially problematic investigation. Several factors support this skepticism. So the timing. The arrest comes just weeks after the Blaze's report implicating the female officer, creating pressure on the FBI to produce an alternative suspect. Well, of course, you got Tucker Carlson putting out videos. You got basically all these independent journalists and influencers that are doing more work than the FBI and the State Department has ever given to us. The political pressure, the case had become a lightning rod for January 6th conspiracy theories, with figures like Dan Bongino suggesting the bombs were part of a government operation. Well, he ain't saying that anymore, is he?
No. Here's the thing, Travis. In the past, the FBI, CIA, our military, our government officials, law enforcement, they've never had to contend with people outside of the mainstream media. The mainstream media has always just accepted they've always worked in tandem. Now, when you're dealing with people like Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and go down the whole list, Cernovich, all these Roboziak and all these guys, these people aren't dumb, and they're not bought. They're not on the take. And I'm telling you, the FBI and our different government institutions, they don't know how to operate under these conditions where they're getting legitimate pushback. And the general public is looking to these people as sources of information. They're not looking to ABC, CBS, even Fox News, CNN, MSNBC anymore. They ain't doing it. I know I'm
They're
not.
going over to X. They're going
Absolutely.
over to people
You're
like
going to X.
they're going over to people like Cal Serafin. They're going over to people like
Yeah.
Alex Jones. They're going everywhere except the places where they got their information before. And listen,
Exactly.
that's a good thing. Nick Shirley and what
You
happened
bet.
in Minnesota, we would know nothing about that had Elon not bought X. I mean,
Bingo.
come on, it's huge. This is
Bingo.
huge. So I highly recommend people listen to the Kyle Serafin show. This story to me is incredible because it's so obvious, and I think it's going to fall apart. And there's going to be some desperate attempts to change our attention to different things, right? As and you can see the liberal media, they are gearing up to get people amped up to start shooting at ICE officers. Man, it's coming. Here's also another one. The confession after 2 hours of interrogation without legal counsel present raises questions about its voluntariness and reliability. The FBI has not
That's my
released
point.
audio or video of the confession.
There you go.
Why not?
Well, because what they would have done, knowing that this was this type of case with this kind of weight, especially if they're dealing with somebody that's autistic, even if the guy wouldn't have requested an attorney, they would have said, you know what, you're getting an attorney because we are not going to move forward with this investigation, this interrogation without you having an attorney because it's going to, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this is, man, this stinks. It just stinks. The whole thing stinks.
Yeah, and then the 943 phone wipes suggest either sophisticated counter surveillance, obsessive compulsive autistic behavior, or evidence of manufacturing. If Cole was truly covering his tracks, why did he continue purchasing bomb materials after January 6th?
Oh, geez.
Man, this is interesting because we use a lot of these tools to kind of help generate these articles and find the different one. They're leaving out a bunch of stuff that I'm hearing on the Serafin show because there are transcripts. I think he got a hold of them and some of this stuff, but really, I think what he was doing was just reading from the affidavit. So I think for next week's show, I'm going to try to pull up that affidavit and see if I can read through it with you guys because it is very interesting to hear how these agencies work when they're pulling these convictions together and all these kinds of things. Some obvious things that is standard protocol, some things that aren't, that it's important to hear people that used to work in these agencies talk about so you can get a kind of a better understanding to it. So I'm hope I'm doing a fairly good job of that today. But the motive confusion, the Justice Department initially stated Cole was not openly political, but believed the election was tampered with. However, prosecutors later claimed he wanted to target political parties because they were in charge. Do you hear that, Mark? He wanted to target them because they were in charge.
Yeah.
Both of them.
No, the whole thing stinks, dude.
Cole allegedly told investigators he wasn't targeting Congress or the certification process, yet he'd planted bombs at both party headquarters the night before the certification. The strategic timing and location suggests political targeting that contradicts his claimed indifference to the electoral process. The FBI consists, here we go, Cole acted alone, but the sophistication of simultaneously placing two viable devices, evading detection for 5 years, and the early surveillance of other persons of interest suggests possible accomplices or broader networks. 5 years, he keeps buying bombs. We have no idea who he is. The surveillance team that Serafin was working on was obviously tracking a legitimate person of interest. This was not on the radar, this guy. And then the Blaze puts out the article, and then what do you know? Dan Bongino and Kash Patel end up getting they got the guy. Called Dan Bongino and said, "Are you sitting down? Are you sitting down?"
Dude, it just,
It's just, and then of course the lone wolf narrative. Now, one of the interesting things I saw broken down was if you look at the surveillance video, the person that's walking around planting the bombs, there's a guard shack at one of the locations, and I forget if it's at the RNC or the DNC, but there's a guard shack, and the way the person is moving, they know exactly the position of that guard shack. They know exactly which angles to look, and the way that the person of interest was hiding and maneuvering obviously knew everything about that security detail. Now, that security agent was interviewed by Steve Baker, and when Steve Baker goes to him to do the interview, the security guard gets out of the kiosk. He's all excited. He's like, "Man, I was there that day, and I can't believe I missed this." And when he starts looking, he goes, "So why are you interviewing me?" He's like, "Oh, they caught. It's not the guy, is it?" That's what the security guard said. So the security guard starts looking at it. He's like, "Yeah, this person, you can tell by the way their movement in the camera, they knew not to be in this line of sight. They knew not to be in this line of sight." I mean, it's a very sophisticated thing. It's nobody with red Crocs and a headphone and sub-freezing temperatures goes to buy his same candy with his chihuahua at a convenience store is going to know how to do unless you got some prep onto what the security details movements look like, where their visibility is, where their blind sights are. The person on the surveillance video clearly knew this, clearly knew where to walk to get out of frame. They knew where the surveillance video even was. The way they're positioning their hood, they're fixing their glasses, adjusting what looks to be a bra strap. Anyway, the FBI maintains that Cole's arrest resulted from a renewed investigation during the Trump administration, highlighting a new examination of previously gathered evidence. Director Kash Patel, Pam Bondi have portrayed the arrest as a triumph of diligent police work. Okay.
dude. Yeah, oh God. So in other words,
Now-
they're rewarding themselves. They're
Oh
giving
yeah, dude. Pat on the back. Let's go to the midterms with the huge. Serafin claims that his team was pulled off surveillance of their original person of interest without explanation, implying political interference or a deliberate decision to let the case go cold. The whistleblowers argue that the FBI under Chris Wray slow-walked the investigation to avoid contradicting the narrative that January 6th represented white supremacy-driven domestic violence extremism, as Wray testified to Congress. The arrest of a politically unaffiliated, non-voting bail bondsman office worker undermines this framing. Yeah, that's to say the least. Now, Steve Friend's termination after suggesting Cole's arrest was a put-up job indicates the sensitivity around questioning this official narrative. The Blaze's initial report, while discredited, raised legitimate questions about why the FBI took 5 years to solve a case with substantial digital and financial evidence. The circulation of the OD&I memo identifying the wrong suspect suggests intelligence community involvement in promoting false leads, whether through incompetence or deliberate misdirection. I think we can assume definitely misdirection. The fact that this memo reached the president and senior officials before being debunked indicates systematic failures in the investigation. So, let me see here. Yeah, so what we're seeing is man, let me full interrogations recordings, that would be good. So from my understanding, the way that this case was brought out after they arrested him and went forward was they thought the prosecution team thought that this would lead right into, okay, let's make a deal. Let's just make a deal. We'll tell you what you want to know and do this kind. They're not doing that. His defense team is not doing that. They're not looking for a deal. They're looking to completely exonerate him. They're looking to completely. They are fighting like hell, and the family is involved in this. The family is everybody apparently in the courtroom was behind him. They wanted to make it very apparent to the judge that this isn't just some nobody that nobody's going to fight for. This lone guy that walks around with headphones every day that has these OCD, autistic level type of disorders. But I mean, to me, this is the role of what the FBI does. If they can't find it, they will find a way to arrest and convict somebody.
Jeez, man.
That's
Hey,
the
look what they did to
evil
Stuart
nature.
Rhodes. Look what they did to Stuart Rhodes, Travis. Look what they did to Stuart Rhodes.
And this is what's interesting, right? Because, you know, there's a bunch of people that were outright advocating for marching on the Capitol and taking it to the street and taking it into the body, and they weren't arrested. But people that weren't there, we got all this sophisticated technology to dragnet all these U.S. citizens that weren't even in D.C. on that day and get all these convictions going. But it took 5 years for this guy. Give me a break. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Now, I think what'll happen, and again, folks, I highly recommend people go. We have no shame plugging other shows on here. I think that's a healthy thing to do that. The Kyle Seraphin show. Go and listen to it and hear what they're, because they do some awesome reporting over there on the inconsistencies with this. I mean, we're talking about inconsistencies with the car, and I'll see if I can grab that same breakdown he did on the affidavit itself. Go through the affidavit with the audience here on the Defiance Daily Show, and then just kind of bring in some of the nuance that we're not seeing. Because when you go and read this, you go and look up the story, you're going to see the same kind of slop where it's like, well, the Blazes thing is discredited only because this guy got caught. But okay, if the conviction doesn't hold, well, then what? Because a lot of people don't think this conviction is going to hold. The way they got the confession, the statute of limitations for some of the crimes they did, apparently the way it went to conviction is it didn't go through or it went through some unusual process through a higher court and not a normal procedure. I'll explain that better on next week's show, but that's kind of the details on it. And then of course the car itself and the cell tower pings, from what I'm seeing on there, can't use it as evidence. It's not reliable. Even in the FBI's own standard practice, they know that it's not completely reliable to use that cell tower data. The cell tower data, by the way, which we were told was destroyed or missing. Of course, now it's back conveniently for this conviction against this clearly autistic kid. So I guess this is what they do. They just go grab autistic people, or if they got this whole network or surveillance, you don't have a conviction, you can find one. You can be creative and find one. You can go put a case together against anybody. So anyway,
yeah,
that's that with the so Brian Cole Jr. Let's see how this case plays out, but I got a feeling there ain't no conviction happening with this one. And then what's Dan Bongino going to say? Then what?
I don't think he was going to say
was it the liberals, man? Did the liberals get another? Did Boasberg get in here and close? No, they'll find a way to. I mean, this is how this looks like. It's just how it operates, no matter who's in office. It's just. Let's give some fodder. We're like mushrooms, right? Just give them some fecal matter, keep them in the dark, let them keep growing, believe in this story over here, and then we move on. And yes, the policies that everybody voted for and was looking forward to are failing. Hey, great. We're getting some deportations done. Not enough. Is it to your standards?
Duh.
Is 5 million out of 40? Is that to your standards? Is that enough? And then we're going to go into Venezuela and what? Okay, those people over there love the country. How does that fix our problem?
It doesn't.
So again, as far as the domestic agenda, it continues going nowhere. And we're getting this slop from these shoddy investigations, from these narcissistic, psychopathic personality disorders that are rampant all over the airways. Everybody's circling around influencers that they don't want to talk. And that's not gonna drive votes. That's not gonna drive momentum. All that's gonna do is just make people stay home, and let's just let the war begin. Just let them get into power and let them let's see where that goes, because maybe it wouldn't be so bad to start anew, guys. And I know now the problem with that is that would actually mean a lot of personal responsibility. That means even if you're not political, now you're going to have to be. And I'll just say it, our country's too fucking lazy.
Oh my
The
God,
country's
dude.
too lazy. People are too far entertained. Or a lot of people like me, I just want to be left the hell alone. I just want to be left the hell alone. But it's very clear that we're not going to be getting that. We're not going to be left alone. And even if we are left alone and we get a little too comfortable, don't worry. There's a lab somewhere in Wuhan, and we could just drop a virus and shove, just turn everything on its head and get what we want out of here. Unfortunately, it's that easy for people, you go and bomb something and blame it on this enemy over here. It's like the same thing with, when you look at 9/11, look at some of these other events, you look at the Boston Marathon bombing, you look at that witness that was there at Charlie Kirk's assassination with his pants dropped saying, I did it. I shot him. And he happened to be at the Boston Marathon involved in that. And he was a witness to the towers falling and apparently had a lot of opinion on how they fell. And that's like a billions and billions odds type of development as far as that guy's concerned, but we don't hear anything about him anymore. So this reality we're living in is anything but, and everything is a grand stage and a show for us to consume so that we can keep trusting these institutions. All we got to do is get your team in there, guys. It's not viable. It's not going to last. And I think things will get a lot worse before they get better. So that's my, my commentary on that one. Let's see here.
I agree.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. So okay, now the Renee Good story, and this, of course, I was driving down 45 or up 45 north, 336 overpass, had a bunch of signs saying Epstein Trump loves Epstein, justice for Renee Good. They're trying to make this like a George Floyd moment, I guess. Bold strategy. I don't know that that's really going to take any kind of weight, especially when you got clips like this where apparently it's white liberal females are having a hard time even crying over this victim because, well, she's white. Let's see if I can find the clip here. You guys are not gonna believe this. Let's see if I can find it. Of course it's not on here. Damn it. Roger, man. I'm getting so sick of this. Where is it, man? Hang on, bear with me. Well, whatever. Let's get into the story here because there was a video that was going viral, and it was a lady being interviewed about why she was out there protesting on Renee Good's behalf. And she said she didn't even know if it was right for her to be this upset about it because white people have such a huge privilege that she doesn't even know if it's right to call for justice when there's so many injustices happening to all these other groups. This feminine slop, dude. It's just people don't even know how to rally around it because it's a white girl and it's a white person.
Oh,
so liberals
shocker.
are now they're having they really don't know how to go about this kind of thing here. So let's go into the breakdown of this story. So on the morning of January 7th, Renee Nicole Macklin, a 37-year-old U.S. citizen and mother of three, was fatally shot by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent in South Minneapolis. The shooting occurred at approximately 9:37 a.m. on Portland Avenue near East 34th Street, less than 1 mile where George Floyd was killed by Minneapolis police in 2020. The incident unfolded during the second day of what Trump administration described as the largest federal immigration enforcement operation in U.S. history, with approximately 2,000 federal agents deployed to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. The operation, building on December's Operation Metro Surge, combined immigration enforcement with the investigation into alleged child care fraud in Minnesota's Somali community. According to a detailed analysis by ABC News and verified footage video, developed like this. So at 9:35 a.m., Good's maroon Honda Pilot was stopped diagonally on Portland Avenue, a residential street in South Minneapolis. Video shows her waving to allow other vehicles to pass. Becca Good, Renee's wife, exited the vehicle and began recording federal agents with her cell phone. An ICE agent, later identified as Jonathan Ross, also recorded the encounter on his phone while walking around the vehicle. What it's failing to mention here is, and one of the releases we got the other day, which really blew up a lot of the narratives. Now you're seeing some of the verbiage change with the Democratic Party and the media head talking points. Because the agent put out his own video. That cop was clearly in front of the car. And I got some more on that detail. But anyway, 9:36 a.m. Yeah, Becca Good, Renee's wife, exited the vehicle and began recording federal agents. Yeah, Jonathan Ross is the other agent that started recording, walking around filming the license plate. During this exchange, Renee told the agent, "That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." According to the video, Becca Good stated the agent, "U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know." That's not all she said. She said, "You look like you're hungry, big boy. Why don't you get you some," or something like that. 9:37 a.m., multiple ICE agents approached the vehicle on foot, with at least one attempting to open the driver's side door while commanding Good to get out of the fucking car. 9:37 a.m., a couple seconds later, as Good's vehicle began moving forward, Agent Ross, positioned near the front left of the SUV, fired 3 shots. According to the video analysis by the New York Times, Ross fired one shot at the windshield and then continuing firing, striking the driver's side twice as the vehicle passed him. Voice captured on audio immediately after the shots. A voice captured on audio said "bitch" after the shots were fired. So are they saying the cop said that now?
Yeah, the cop said fucking bitch or something like that, I think, which is, being in a situation like that myself, similar, that's very common. I mean, that's just what you're going to say. I mean,
okay, now this was an interesting one. So this is 9:43 a.m., 6 minutes after the shooting. Emergency medical services and firefighters arrived at the scene. ICE agents refused to allow a bystander to identify himself as a physician to provide medical assistance, stating they did their own medics in that first response. Okay, Mark, you're an expert. Well, let me get to the rest of the timeline. 9:45, 8 minutes after, Good was carried to Portland Avenue, where CPR began. 9:52, Good's body was placed in the ambulance and transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she was later pronounced dead. Now, my understanding is federal agent, or depending on the department, federal enforcement, state enforcement, police, federal, they operate differently. They do not operate in the same capacity. If you are a federal agent and you're working on one of these programs and you're being interfered with and someone gets shot, you're not going to render aid to the person you get shot, because there's other things around you that are going to take priority before the person who just got shot did. So that's not an unusual thing. It's not a racist thing or something like, oh, she was a liberal, what a bit. We're not going to give her CPR. Standard protocol. Someone gets shot there, or they shoot an assailant or somebody that was interfering with it. They make sure the rest of the area is secure.
Bingo.
Right? They get everything else in order. Now, what it's not mentioning in this, and this is what's pissing me off because these reports are being accumulated from mainstream sources. She drove 5 hours out of her way to come up there and go park her car and interfere with traffic. And that's why the ACE agents approached her, is because she was effective at getting people in the way to interfere with what they were doing up there. So they approach her car, tell her to get out of the way, drive, baby, drive. When you watch their surveillance footage, if there wasn't ICE, and I'm not talking about the agency, I mean physical ICE under that tire, you see that tire starting to run before it actually gains traction on the ground. Had there not been ICE there, that cop would have been ran over. It would have been ran over. So, and then all the angles are people are looking at the cop on the side. That's not, guys, there was 2 agents involved. Okay. So anyway, this same police officer in June of last year already got ran over. Okay. He was dragged. How many feet? How many feet was this guy dragged?
I think it was 60 or 90 feet.
Yeah, federal officers initially declined to publicly identify the shooter, but court documents and law enforcement sources confirmed it as Jonathan. He was doxxed, dude. You know
Of
what they're
course.
trying to do. They're trying to get this guy killed.
Absolutely.
Ross was deployed in Iraq from 2004 to 2005 with the Indiana National Guard, serving as a machine gunner on a gun truck as part of a combat patrol team. After returning from Iraq and attending college, Ross joined the U.S. Border Patrol in 2007, working near El Paso until 2015. He served as a field intelligence agent, gathering and analyzing information on cartels and drug and human smuggling. Since 2015, Ross has worked as a deportation officer for ICE based in Minnesota, assigned to fugitive operations with higher value targets. Okay. On June 17, 2025, in Bloomington, Minnesota, Ross was part of a team attempting to arrest Robert Carlos Munoz Guatemala for immigration violations. According to court documents, Ross smashed the window of the suspect's vehicle and reached inside to unlock the door. When the driver accelerated, Ross's arm became caught in the window and he was dragged approximately 50 to 100 yards alongside the vehicle. Ross fired his taser twice during the incident and sustained injuries requiring 20 stitches to his right arm and 13 stitches on his left hand. A jury convicted Munoz Guatemala of assaulting a federal officer with a dangerous weapon in December 2025. Okay, so you've got an agent here that had been drugged by a car, had all these stitches up there. So not exactly somebody who's going to probably fuck around again in these type of instances, right? Fair to say? Mark,
I think it's very fair.
And you got drugged by a car and you nearly died trying to just break a window and you even tried to use taser. If you got approached by a car again, you're probably going to handle it a little more diligently, right?
Yeah, one of the closest times I ever got to getting killed was by being hit by a car. It's very common. Most police officers are killed by most police officers that are killed in the line of duty, usually by a car.
Used by car. They are weapons, whether you like it or not. Every time you get behind a vehicle, you're in a weapon now. It's a weapon. Okay. So, okay. I'm going to do a few little tangents here, little diatribes, if you will, on this. Okay. Number one, of all the things that you would be super upset about to drive 5.5 hours away from your 3 children to do, it's over ICE. It's over deporting people that are here illegally. That's what you're going to go and risk your life to do? 5.5 hours, 3 kids. You know, I thought about it this way.
Dude. She's a chick.
If I got a call from someone that said, "Sir, your wife's been involved in an incident." Well, what happened? Well, she was protesting a ICE facility up here in Conroe, Texas, and got shot interfering with law enforcement. I would be so upset with my wife. What are you doing? Why are you at an ICE facility, babe? What are you so animated about these people that are here illegal? You know, that's the other thing that gets me is some of the people I found out that as they were protesting and making some of these arrests, some of these people they were arrested were like child traffickers. These are like not your neighbor. These are bad people. Now, it doesn't matter anyway, because if you're here legally, guys, just come in legally. Problem solved. You're not breaking any crimes. You're not doing anything wrong. But the feminist approach, this mothering, nurturing nature where we've got these animated females risking their lives and getting involved and interfering with law. Let me tell you something, guys. I said the same thing about the Summer of Love, and you watch that Chris Rock video, How Not to Get Your Ass Kicked by the Police. When a officer is telling you what to do, what do you do, Mark?
What do you do? It. I know what I do. I know what I do. I follow instructions to the T, and I'm yes, sir, no, sir. I mean, yes.
Were these same folks screaming about Ashley Babbitt getting shot?
Oh, no. They were celebrating Ashley Babbitt.
They were celebrating Ashley Babbitt getting shot, and Ashley Babbitt was our She didn't even have a weapon.
Nope. Nothing.
Okay. She barrels through, breaks the glass, and they shoot. Now, to me, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and defend Ashley Babbitt because I wouldn't be telling anybody to go smashing windows in the fucking Capitol.
Right.
You're asking for it, guys. You're asking for. Comply. Fight it in court later. If you're unjustly arrested, you have a better chance of fighting it in court than sitting there and argue with the officer. Okay? This is the same thing when the rhetoric over they're killing black people, they're doing this. No. If you're lunging at an officer with a knife, you're going to get shot. If you're making it hard for an officer to do their job and you're not complying, they tell you to get out of the fucking car, get out of the fucking car. So now this woman dies, and that is a tragedy. She's got 3 kids out there, animated over immigration. Is it worth it? Is all this outrage and all this mothering nurtured nature of women is being weaponized for the dumbest shit. So everything that is supposed to be considered important, no, now it's prioritized over whatever my team says the hardcore political stance is on this subject or this thing. It doesn't matter that, hey, if you don't comply, no, it's not her fault. She was fleeing the scene. Okay. So you're in the wrong. Okay. If you were trying to, it doesn't, oh, well, we don't know if she was using it as a weapon. I wouldn't give a shit. If I'm a cop and I see those tires spinning and I'm in front of the vehicle and I just got drug 100 freaking yards 6 months prior, I'm going to shoot you. Is it really that unreasonable to wrap your head around this? Is it really unreasonable?
It has to be done. And I'm harder on cops than anybody else. I am very
and we talk about this. This is where it's like, this is where the sports brain mentality comes into the politics. Like, there's nobody you're going to agree with 100% on everything, guys.
Right.
You got to have nuance to these discussions. Yes, police are trigger happy for the most part. A lot of them. They got lower standards. They're over militarized. I absolutely agree with that. Okay. But at the same time, you can't go and interfere and block traffic. And then when they tell you to get out of the car, drive, baby, drive. Tell her to drive. Come on, man. Come on. And if I'm the family, because apparently she was married before and her husband is deceased. And then not long after her husband was deceased, she's with this girl. Kind of weird. Whatever.
Little sus.
Little bit suspect, but
hey, chicks will kill their husbands, man. It happens all the time.
And listen. There's a bunch of it's unverified stuff about her losing custody of her kids. Apparently, I tried to find this morning anything on the court records. I don't see anything like that. So this is what we got to watch out for, right? Because the COINTELPRO people go get and they flood social media with a bunch of bullshit. People start spreading it around, and guess what? Now the credible stuff that we're all questioning, now it's attached to a bunch of bullshit. And if you fall for it and you get caught up in it, well, then now the story now we'll get no traction on the truth. Because, and that's intentional, guys. They just like to pump and dump all the bullshit out there. So I haven't seen anything confirming she lost custody of her kids, that her girlfriend, Dick Van Dyke over there, was putting cigarettes out on the arm. I saw that somewhere. I'm not seeing it, guys. I'm not seeing it. Here's the bottom line. Don't go and fuck with police officers doing investigations. You don't go up to a traffic stop to a cop, put your car up in front of it and say, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. Go ahead, take pictures of my plate. And then when they tell you to get out of the car, I'm just going to speed off. Are you fucking stupid? You're asking for it. So I understand wanting to go and like protest it, but they're not doing that.
No,
we were just watching video a couple months back of them hurling rocks at these government vehicles and blowing up Tesla buildings and doing all this stuff, and they're impeding traffic. Don't tell me these are peaceful protests.
Oh my
You
God.
want to go out there and protest and you physically get involved and get in the way of arrest being made or traffic being involved? What are you doing? Here's what's frustrating for me is, Mark, we could see this coming. We talked about this.
Oh,
Someone's going to get shot. We kept saying that. Somebody's going to get shot doing this stuff.
Count on it.
Someone's going to get shot. There's going to be cops. You can count on it. And then you got that team over there on the left side telling them to go get in their face, go and do it. Now they're telling them, go pick up guns like this is 1776 and they're fighting the oppressive government for ICE. People that aren't even Americans that are in, and it's like, for me, it's just so, just comply. I always think about that Chris Rock video where, let's see if I can, how not to get you. Let's see if we could play it. Chris Rock. I wonder if I'll get,
what's
you think
really
I'll get
going to be tragic. And this is what they're setting up, and it's going to happen because they're doing this on purpose. There's going to be one or two, or maybe 3 or 4 females. It just takes one, but it could be multiple. They're going to show up at one of these places where there's going to be federal agents, law enforcement, and one of these women or a couple of them or 3 of them or something like that, they're going to pull out weapons. They're going to shoot at, or they're going to succeed at shooting one or more of these officers. There's going to be an exchange in gunfire, and we're going to see it live on the air. We're going to see it. We're going to witness it live on the air. It's going to be video, and you're going to see return fire, and you're going to see these federal agents gunning down females in the streets. And Travis, they're going to get their George Floyd moment. They're going,
here's
they're going to get it,
right? Because I feel like you're right now. And there's already been some weird stuff. You remember the shooting at that, was it a facility in New York? I think it was. And they had the handwritten ink.
No, that was Dallas. That was the ICE facility in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. The guy across the street with the high-powered deer rifle. Right.
It's a little odd, that story still. I'd have to go back and look at that. But I remember thinking, this is just a ripe thing to get things popped off in this country. Is you go shoot up an ICE facility or go kill a bunch of immigrants and blame it on Republicans kind of thing. It's like, and look, is it really that far-fetched with what we saw with the pipe bomber? That's Brian Cole Jr. It's not the guy. It's not the person who did it. I'm just telling you now, I can say it with 100% confidence. Does it mean they'll convict him? They'll probably still find a way to convict the guy. But I'm telling you, those attorneys.
Derek Chauvin's sitting in prison.
Derek Chauvin's sitting in prison. They want this George Floyd moment, but it's going to be hard because it's a white female. Well, Stuart Rhodes he got pardoned, but he still got the conviction on his rap sheet.
He sat in solitary confinement for over a year. Solitary confinement for over a year. Tortured. He was under Geneva Convention. He was tortured for over a year. Was innocent. Was imprisoned. I mean, listen. Imagine. I am telling you, Travis. Mark this down. Imagine an exchange in gunfire and seeing females gunned down in this. This one was done in the car. It was, sure. And we didn't see because she was shot in the face, dude. But we see that in the street. We see it live. We see the blood. We see that it's kind of like a Charlie Kirk type of minute. I am telling you, Travis, they're going to get their George Floyd moment. They're going to they didn't get it with this one. They didn't get it with this crazy thing.
Now they're going to get it. And you got Tim Walz out there saying, pretty much alluding to the fact that they're at war with the federal government. They're going to issue their National Guard. And guys, this is bad stuff, man. This is obviously, there can never be accountability for the reality of the situation, which is kind of in line with what I'm about to share right now. I'm going to share this video here.
Proudly presents this educational video. Have you ever been face to face with a police officer and wondered, is he about to kick my ass? Well, wonder no more. If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. First, Obey the law. Laws were made for a reason. Think of them as hints. You've heard people say, man, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you. Well, here's some of that shit. Carjacking, armed robbery, arson, selling drugs, buying drugs, stabbing, shooting. You know, you probably won't get your ass kicked if you just use common sense. If you jump a subway turnstile, you might just get off with a warning from the police. But if you jump a turnstile carrying a loaded gun and smoking a joint, then maybe you need your ass kicked. We all know what happened to Rodney King. But Rodney wouldn't have gotten his ass kicked if he had just followed this simple tip. When you see flashing police lights in your mirror, stop immediately. Everybody knows, if the police have to come and get you, they're bringing an ass kicking with them. Here's a no-brainer. If you're listening to loud rap music, turn that shit off. Blasting "fuck the police" while you're getting pulled over by the police is just ignorant. When an officer approaches your car, be polite.
Is there a problem, officer?
And stay in your car with your hands on the wheel.
What the fuck you want, motherfucker?
Unless you want your ass kicked.
Yep.
Want to give a friend a ride? Not so fast. Your friend might be crazy. Now, before you let your friend in your car, ask them these questions. Do you have a gun? Do you have drugs? Do you have any warrants? And in case you do get pulled over by the cops,
License and registration, please.
remind your friend to do this one thing. Shut the fuck up.
Man, don't give him shit. What the fuck you want?
So true.
If you have to give a friend a ride, get a white friend. A white friend can be the difference between a ticket and a bullet in the ass. Here's a tip you should never forget. If your woman is mad at you, leave her at home. Because a mad woman will say anything.
He got weed!
If your woman's mad at you, there's nothing she'd like to see more than you getting your ass kicked.
That's right! Kick his motherfucking ass! Take his weed too! He got weed!
All right, folks. I think you.
That's so
There you
much
go.
truth.
Let me see.
I witnessed it, man. I lived it.
Well, and again, and the point being, like, look, I'm not trying to trivialize, a death here, all right, because it's awful. It's really nothing to laugh at, but it's the same thing that I said whenever the summer of love was going on. If you're going to be competitive with a police officer, expect to get shot or to get your ass kicked or both. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. So I always had this story where I do the same thing every time. Sometimes I'll carry some bifocals in the car and I'll just, maybe I'm speeding, maybe I cross the lane over, I'll pop up over there. Is there a problem, officer? Yes, sir. No, sir. Please, sir. May I lick your boots, sir? That's completely unjustified, but I will not be competitive to you right now. I will fight it in the court of law. Thank you, sir. Please don't tase me and please don't shoot me in my necklace. And that seems to work out for me pretty well. Now, my dad had very entirely different approaches to this. Almost got his ass kicked multiple times by police because his big thing was when he got pulled over, they would always ask, "Where are you headed?" And he goes, "Why is that in your fucking business?" It's like, oh, yeah, don't. And
That
he almost
never
got
is,
arrested
well-
a couple times on these trips. And I always told Dad, like, what's the point of arguing with the officer? Really,
Just-
what's the point? What's the point?
Just go with it, man.
Just go
Hey,
with
the best
it.
guy I ever
and
stopped.
he didn't like it the way I said. I said, Dad, you need to lick those boots, Dad. Just when you get pulled over, just lick the boots. Lick them
Oh
clean.
no, your dad. No,
Lick
Dave
him
was
clean.
not a no.
No, my dad
no.
was not. He just did
I had
not.
a kid. I had a kid offer me a donut one time. I stopped him for rolling a stop sign. He was coming back from it was Shipley Donuts, and he had box, the dozen in the passenger seat. And when I walked up, he picked it. He said, "Donut officer." And dude, I so respected that because he did it in such a way that he was being really kind, and he wasn't being like a smart alecky about it. He was like, "Donut officer." I just started laughing. I said, "Buddy, just don't roll any more stop signs. Just go.
That
It
probably
was,
made your day a little bit, right?
oh no, totally made my day. It was he did it. Now, a little bit of a risk. If he would have been stopped by an asshole cop, that could have gone the other way. But I'm not like that, and I respected it. I totally. He was probably 16 or 17 or 18. He was not. He was still in high school, and I had to respect it. So yeah, he got to walk, man. He didn't get a ticket, and I wouldn't have written him a ticket anyway. But anyway, it was a bold move, bold strategy, and it paid off.
Well, and now here's what's yeah, because there's a lot of rhetoric over. I mean, she was there apparently as a legal observer of ICE activities. Guys, obstructing traffic and doing that. Come on. This is not, protesting is one thing, but this is not protesting. Going and interfering with these officers that, I mean, really at the end of the day, they got a job to do, guys. They got a job to do. So you're going to come in there with your screeching earplugs and, you brought the damn dog with you. Apparently the dog was in the back seat. Dog had to see all this kind of stuff. And where's your kids?
Yeah.
Where's your kids?
Exactly.
Where's your kids? You got 3 kids and you're out there. That's like when I get on to my wife about her wanting to skydive. She can't do that anymore. You got kids now. We're not young bucks with nothing else to lose and nobody else depending on. Once you got people depending on you, can't be going out there doing this stupid kind of shit. So you're going to go be an ICE activist, go 5.5 hours up, if my understanding is correctly, to go get involved in this. And then you get shot in the process. Now the kids don't have a mother. And for what? For what? What'd you accomplish? What did you, what in that activity was it going to, did you stop any of the rest? Did you save people like we're in the freaking mid-century Nazi Germany? You're going in to hide Holocaust survivors? That's not what's going on here, guys. So, but again,
I blame, hey man, I blame Hollywood. I blame Netflix. I blame Prime. I blame Disney. They're doing all these shows and all these movies showing these strong, independent women, these 120-pound women that are kicking men's asses, and they're just so strong, and they're so independent, and they're so smart, and and it's filled a lot of women up. I mean, women tendencies are delusional anyway, just their natural tendency. But you put enough of this propaganda into them, and this is what we're going to see more and more of it. And you're going to see more and more of these women that I'm telling you, they're writing checks, their ass can't cash, and they're deluded, and they think they can, go up a 120-pound woman. When they see these shows with these 120-pound women beating the shit out of a 250-pound Delta Force operator in these movies, I know women tend to
well, and it's all geared towards playing on the maternal instincts that every woman biologically has, right? That's this whole
they're egalitarian by nature. They like things to be instinct.
It's basically redirecting it from where it should be, right? Which is towards your family over here to this group of people in this tribe over here, and you belong, and you're the righteous one, and yeah. How's that look for you?
It's just getting started. It's just
getting
started.
And oh God, here's this video. I got to play it. And no, we're not on here bashing women or whatever the case, but there has been a lot of discussion about the 19th Amendment. And, I saw this video and I couldn't help but think about you, Mark.
Why me?
Just watch for me. This is why your ancestors wouldn't let women vote.
We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. You matter. You matter. And I am fighting for you. And I will not stop. I will not stop today. I will not stop tomorrow. You are loved. You matter. You belong here. We need trans.
See, this is what happens when you let him out of the kitchen, Travis.
I knew you were going to have some kind of response.
Dude, you keep them in the kitchen.
I mean, look,
People pregnant.
people are looking at what used to be taboo topics like this, and just, you can't help but wonder what the hell happened. Now, hijacking this is what's frustrating to me is, we don't see this type of outrage over Epstein's network. We don't see protest over, getting the files out, doing this animosity, this anger, this like, why are we not getting answers? We're not protesting over whatever other cover-ups we can identify. The botched investigations. We're not at the front of FBI headquarters demanding that it be shut down. No, we're doing that instead. That's what our focus is on. So you go to hell in a handbasket, and those handbaskets are woven awfully meticulously by some of these white liberal females. And this is obviously a problem, guys. This is obviously a problem. Now, there was another video to help. This is just, I guess, our segment on liberal white women to see if we can kind of pinpoint some of this. I hadn't watched this video yet, but was told I needed to share it. So let's see what this looks like. This is called Liberal White Women Explained. Let's see what we got.
Don't come on my page and say that people should be in this country legally. Don't do it.
No! No! Shame! Shame!
He shot her because she was queer.
Are we f***ing great yet? Are we a great country? Is this one? It's f***ing great!
A lot of people are wondering right now how in the world a person's brain ends up like this, because this is not how healthy, happy people act. Let me explain. Liberal women are what happens when the natural female instinct to nurture and defend and care for gets misdirected away from families and children and misapplied to whatever the liberal cause of the weak is. See, women have an innate instinct to support and emotionally connect to vulnerable people. We are designed to be mama bears. And in the absence of a stable and healthy home and family, a woman will find a place to put all of that. The natural instinct to sacrifice yourself for your children gets misapplied in all the wrong directions. You want to know why so many liberal women are out there playing hero for criminal aliens and gender-confused perverts and cultures that hate them? It's because they believe they have identified groups of people who need them when no one else does. We destroyed the family, and we handed a generation of women a bunch of feminist lies and progressive slop in its place. And this is the natural result.
I think that's pretty spot on. I mean, it's basically, you could call it weaponized empathy, right? You basically just hijack, these emotional instincts that women have, and you just get them riled up over the dumbest shit possible and just run it roughshod over the rest of the public. And you end up to a point where we are now, where we're fighting for chopping kids' genitals off, abortions, everything opposite of anything good and godly, right? And that's kind of a big part of it. And I tend to agree with that assessment there. It's basically it's a weaponized mindset to it, and it's just not.
Do you know who knew that better than almost anyone today?
What's that?
The founding fathers understood that. The founding fathers didn't. That's why the founding fathers didn't hate women. They weren't misogynists. They just understood that females are not equipped to hold public office or to vote because of the way they're designed and created, which is wonderful. And being a mother and a homemaker and a wife and all that, it works perfectly. But just like you or Travis, if I encouraged you to have a baby and to be nurturing and mother, that would be the biggest retarded, stupidest thing that we would be the laughing stock because it's ridiculous. No different than telling women that they are wired and predisposed to being leaders and, being able to go out and do things in the world that men are supposed to be doing. It's just as ridiculous. And I know when people say that, it's like, oh my God, pearl clutching and all that. But this is biology. This is science. This is the way God designed it. And when you try to force people into situations they're not designed to do, it's cruel. And that's why when I make posts on social media saying,
that was very well put. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just true. And see, the feminist movement has lied to women and told them that if somebody comes along and says, hey, you're not equipped to do XYZ, they think, oh, you're saying I can't do something? Yes, I'm saying you're not equipped to do that. Just like I'm not equipped to have a child. I'm not equipped to do that. Now, why is that perfectly okay for me to say that? Nobody gets bent out of shape. But when I tell women they're not equipped to lead, they're not equipped to vote, they're not equipped to, do these leadership positions that men are designed to do, then I'm some sort of horrible person. No, I'm just saying people have bought a lie from Satan. And that's why we're having these problems. It's that simple. I don't apologize for it.
Well, and it's like the other part to it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I make posts oftentimes that, some people find a little bit maybe offensive or whatever, but I'll say things like repeal the 19th Amendment. I think you'd be surprised, Travis, to find that you'd be surprised that I get a lot. Now, this is the difference between women and ladies. Ladies love me. Feminists hate me. And these aren't white liberal women. They're feminists is what they are. They're feminists. Ladies, they don't want to be involved in all this stuff.
That's absolute, dude. That makes me
ladies,
think,
you know what ladies want to do? Ladies want to be ladies. They don't want any of this stuff outside in the political sphere. Ladies don't desire any of that. Ladies want to be a loving mother. They want to have a lot of kids. They want to take care of the home. They want to take care of their husband. That's how they're designed. And they love that. That's what ladies do. It's these feminists that have a problem with me. And I don't give a shit about feminists. They can eat shit and die for all I care.
Well, and you can't help but just look at the weaponized design to this and just at a high level know how evil it is. First of all,
to destroy the family.
To really subvert your God-given role.
Absolutely.
But really hate yourself congruently with it. To hate yourself based on the color of skin you had when you were born. I mean, there's so many factors that you can't control out there. But one of the most evil things, I've always said this on the show, I said 100 times before, there's nothing more evil than convincing people you're not enough.
Exactly.
Who you are. Who you are is not enough. You need to identify as something else. You need to change into something else. Bingo. And that's the complete opposite. Who you are is so much more unique, so much more powerful than anything that these groups are telling you to go and join and be a part of. It's not a godly thing. And or forget the religious aspect to it. It's just wrong to do that to somebody.
It violates nature.
Imagine telling a little kid growing up, no, you're not okay in your body.
Right.
No, that'd be like me telling my son, no, little TJ, you're not Travis, you're Travicia. Okay. Right. Don't worry. We're going to chop that thing off down there, permanently, physically ruin and alter your existence because you're not good enough in who you are. Even though it's just a child, doesn't even know what their favorite crayon color is all the way up through elementary school. You're telling that to kids, and then you got these self-loathing women that hate themselves, and they're pushing it onto their children as well. And you're getting these factors where custody battles are taking place, and you're seeing the most screwed up, evil things happen to these kids at the behest of what should be the complete opposite. You know, it shouldn't be women hurting all these kids, man. It just shouldn't be that way. But they'll go out there and die for some mice. But as far as their 3 kids back at home, nah, we need to go protest some mice today, kids. Because that's what's important to my Dick Van Dyke girlfriend over here. You know, I know we lost your dad, but I couldn't imagine going through this kind of thing over there. No, for what? You go and impede traffic. Cop tells you to get out of the car and you just think you're going to drive off. Are you stupid? This would happen to anybody. So the argument is the left going to have now because it's a white liberal female. So are we not supposed, is the left not supposed to care as much? Are they supposed to caveat their empathy now to this? You see how screwed up this is for them? Because these are weaponized tribal groups. Mark can't even have a simple conversation over basic elements of fundamental biological truth without getting attacked in some regard to this stuff. And it's instead we're encouraging women to go into the line of fire and these kinds of things. Y'all, come on. This is not, men can do better. We can do so much better than allow this type of, and look, you look at Mamdani in New York, everybody wants to complain of it. It's like, it was a bunch of females that let them. So the parameters around the voting, and I used to have a very almost libertarian view to this. I really don't anymore. I really do think you need qualifications to vote. I absolutely you need to run for office.
Well, okay. Your voting thing is number one. Voting isn't a right. Okay. Voting is not, everybody thinks voting is a right. And by the way, when you look at the 19th Amendment, you look at I think of the 14th, the 15th, that give voting rights to slaves or different things. It uses the term rights. Now you got to also remember every amendment that was passed post the War of Northern Aggression are completely opposite the amendments that were passed by the founding fathers. And it's very interesting to see that. Voting is not a right. A right by nature cannot impede on another person. Like healthcare cannot be a right. The reason why healthcare cannot be a right is why? Because in order to get healthcare, somebody else has to provide that. You have an effect on someone else. So healthcare cannot be a right. Voting can't be a right because voting has effects on everybody else. Voting is a privilege.
There's responsibility that goes with it, right? We're seeing this in real time, and the responsibility, if you are voting on your feelings throughout your entire lifetime, you're not helping the generations coming up.
You're destroying it. You're
just making the situation work. Now, what I was curious about is, are they going to go after this officer? And now he's in a federal position. So here's the latest I've got on that. Minnesota and Minneapolis officials have strongly disputed the federal narrative. Now, I will say this about what Trump did. I don't know. This is the part I get frustrated with Trump is like, you know, very easy PR things. So you get on TV and you say he was ran over, he was brought into the hospital. He wasn't. So now the left is pointing at you going, see, Trump lied. And it's like, dude, why do that? Why you don't even need to do that.
He was talking about the previous experience the officer had, but I got you. He does a horrible, but Travis, you're proving your own point. He did a horrible job of messaging that.
Why is the messaging on something like this is super easy?
Well, it should be. It should
be.
Don't
interfere with like an active investigation or someone's getting arrested there, and then you're piling up traffic. You're going out of your way, leaving your kid. This is just not it. This is not normal behavior. It definitely seems like things are going to escalate here. Now, Governor Tim Walz called the shooting preventable and unnecessary, stating, "We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever." And I agree with that. No reason whatsoever. Could have just stayed home. Could have just protested normally and not used your car to get involved. What are we doing? What are we doing? You can't do that in any other circumstance. I couldn't go out there and go protest and use my vehicle to try to obstruct people making arrest or doing this stuff. You're going to get shot doing that. It doesn't matter. Do you really think this officer is sitting there wondering what his political, what's the political stance on shooting this woman now? No. You know what? I'm just going to find it. Let me see if I can find the clip. What I want to show is the video from the police officer's angle. The police officer that recorded it, because it is important to note on here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So here's the video from the officer standpoint on the phone. Viewer discretion is advised, folks. So just bear with me on this. Let me see if I can get this going here. So what you're seeing here is the angle from the officer who recorded. Take a look for yourself. Someone yelling, "Move your damn car." She's blocking traffic right there.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking country. You want to come at us? You want to come at us?
God,
I said go get yourself
idiot,
some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
You're not a dude.
Get out of the fucking car.
Acting like a dude.
See, this is the problem.
Oh!
Fucking bitch. He definitely said it.
Oh, hell
After
yes,
he
he is.
gets bumped up.
And you know what? People say we shouldn't celebrate her death. You know, me personally, I do, because that's one less fucking communist pig. That's
I mean,
walking around.
that shot right
Dude, I
there. And look,
celebrate it. I
I'm
celebrate
never.
that death.
I'm not going to celebrate anybody dying. I'm just.
I am. I'm going to celebrate that
But
one because
This
just
one
like
right
the enemy
here,
died,
that video right there. Come on. I mean,
that's the enemy. That's the
he's-
enemy of
he's-
America.
He's not. I would be shocked if he gets convicted. Now it's up to the state.
It's
Federal authorities are obviously going to back him, but here's what's happening here.
the state, bro.
Um,
It's the state, and it's their.
Walt
Hey, who
claimed
makes the
January
jury?
9th as Renee Goodday. Okay, so now they're getting a day. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey offered one of the most forceful rebukes, stating after reviewing, having seen the video herself, I want to tell everybody directly that this is bullshit. Frey demanded that the ICE agent get the fuck out of Minneapolis. Let's see here. I'm trying to see where. Associated Press concluded it was unclear if Good's car made contact with Rose. Did y'all watch the same video we did? Because clearly, if you watch the cell phone video, that car did touch him. I mean, it doesn't matter though. Get out of the car and then drive, baby, drive. And you're telling her to drive off. And what do you think's going to happen, guys? Come on, man. Just totally unnecessary.
Travis, they try that in a state court, and where does the jury pool come from that will be sitting on the jury?
You already know what's going to happen.
Well,
already
that's
know.
what I'm saying. I think that officer is in. That's why Trump has to declare insurrection, and that way the state can no longer, because otherwise he's not going to be able to keep getting officers to go into those situations if they know. If this officer gets arrested now and gets indicted, guess what all the ICE officers are going to start doing? They're going to say, I ain't putting myself in that situation.
No
way.
Yeah, and I'm trying to read here. Okay, here we go. January 8th, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellis. Keith Ellison is still around?
Oh, yeah, dude. Crooked
Wow.
Keith Ellison.
He announced a joint effort to collect and preserve evidence to support an independent investigation into Good's killing. They created a public evidence submission portal. That'll go well. Asking anyone with video or other evidence to submit it directly to state prosecutors. She stated that while her office has collaborated effectively with the FBI in past cases, she is concerned by the Trump administration's approach, of course. She emphasized we do have jurisdiction and the ICE officer does not have complete immunity. As of mid-January, the BCA is not conducting an independent use of force investigation, but is working with the office to catalog and preserve evidence submitted by the public. So it's not going to be easy if the state goes after him, mainly because I don't know. To me, it just seems like if you're needing more video evidence outside of what's out there, they're probably trying to find the most favorable angle to make this kind of thing happen. So
But here's the thing.
This will get
When your
interesting.
jury pool is made up of communists, Travis, it doesn't matter what the evidence is. Derek Chauvin is sitting in prison today. So it doesn't matter what the video evidence shows. If you've got a jury panel that's made up of people in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that officer is going to jail for life.
Yeah, and we'll keep a pulse on this to see what's going to happen with the officer. They're definitely going to try to make an example out of him.
Damn right, and they'll do it.
The state is trying to, go about this on their own. Let's see here. And I've heard this before. And Mark, you're an ex-cop. Just please, for the audience here. And I always think about this in context of, why didn't he just shoot the tires, Mark?
No, you can't do that.
Why didn't he just shoot the tires? I mean, he only got drug 100 yards before, nearly died in a previous incident. So why not just shoot the tires, man? Maybe he's just super trigger happy. He just wanted to shoot a liberal that day.
It's not a movie.
It's not a movie. Guys, let me put it to you this way.
First of all, when you shoot tires, tires don't blow out like you see on TV shows. Sometimes.
And guess what happens when you shoot tires? Who's going to tell the audience that cars still move with blown out tires?
And sometimes if the bullet goes in, the tire doesn't there's 1,000 different factors involved. Listen, I've shot tires out before and they don't deflate immediately.
You shoot out the fucking tires. Okay. That car's coming at you. All right.
Right. Yeah.
And you're reacting in a split second, and judging from what I covered earlier, he tried a taser in his past incident. How did that work out for him? You think he's going to bust a taser out again?
Hey, who's that female cop? Who's that female cop that got run over and killed not long ago? Same scenario, and she got killed. That female cop, this recently, and same scenario, and she died. Ran over and it killed her.
See, and the way the media is portraying this is, look, the use of force is increasing. Guys, you're protecting people throwing bricks at their vehicles, being surrounded, being accosted, being interfered with. There was a weird shooting up in wherever that happened, New Jersey, New York. What do you think? They're not going to change their way they're having to approach these areas with a bunch of screaming left-wing women trying to interfere with the investigations and like just trying to get as much reaction out of them as possible? This is stupid. This is so stupid. This is so damn stupid. And not only that, I what's the left's goal with this? Like, what are you going to, you're not going to stop ICE. You're not going to do it. You're not going to stop that agency from doing it.
Well, not at least until the midterms.
True.
Because if the Democrats take over, because here's the first thing the Democrats are going to do if they take over in the midterms, Travis, they're going to defund ICE. They're going to do it immediately. They'll do it day one.
God, man, I'd see. This is
They'll defund ICE on day one. Congress is the purse. Congress determines who gets the funding. They will on day one. They will defund ICE.
And it's like in all the Democrat state controlled areas or city controlled areas, they've got these ICE monitoring. They're doing everything to prevent the law from being carried out. This is clearly a weaponized. This is a very important demographic, not because they care about their skin color and they're not racist. They need the voting block. They need these people here illegally to continue putting them into power so they can keep these structures in place. So this is not good. I feel awful for the kids involved, obviously. I mean, 3 kids down there. And, who knows who's in their ear. There's some future activists, if I've ever seen a recipe for one down the line. Who knows how bad that could get for them. And this is just stupid. This is just pure stupidity. Getting involved in the middle of all this, and this is what you're outraged about, and you got kids back at home. What's wrong with y'all? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? No. And yeah, so no charges have been filed against Jonathan Ross as of January 12th. However, Hennepin County, and again, what I said earlier, they're conducting an independent state investigation. So you better believe they're going to try to tear up every possible angle to get this guy convicted, get him in front of a jury that's selected from Minnesota. And good luck with that. You'll probably, half of them will probably be Somalian.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, the same thing just keep happens. Let's see here. The county attorney, Hennepin County attorney, stated that we do have jurisdiction to make the decision that happened in the case, or her life was taken in Hennepin County. It does not matter if it was a federal law enforcement agent or not. She emphasized that while there are complex legal issues involved when the federal law enforcement is involved, the law is clear that her office has jurisdiction. Attorney General Keith Ellison stated, "This is clearly a homicide." That right there is bad. Calling this a murder. They know what they're doing, Mark. They know what they're doing.
Mark my word, this cop is going to be indicted. He's going to be indicted. And
yeah, he said clearly this is a homicide. Homicide and murder are not exactly the same thing. He has demanded transparency and questioned what federal authorities are hiding by excluding state investigation. Well, what else could you be? Whatever.
They're going to indict him. And I'm telling you, the jury that he's going to be facing, it's going to be a bunch of communists. It's going to be a bunch of lesbos. It's going to be a bunch of communists. And they will find him guilty. And the evidence will not matter.
Yeah, and Michael Freeman, so he was the Hennepin County who brought the charges against Chauvin, was on CNN saying the vice president is wrong. There are claims in some cases of federal immunity. I do not believe that would apply here. We have a rogue officer acting in a malicious way who killed a 37-year-old woman in cold blood. He had no reason to fear for his life. He had no reason to fire his weapon, and he shouldn't have. I believe he will be prosecuted successfully in state court.
Absolutely. Watch and learn. And then guess what's going to happen to all those ICE officers? They're going to say, fuck this. No way. I mean, they're making good money.
What's the point? You can't even do your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the point there? Now,
well,
there's
a
couple legal
incite the Insurrection Act. That's what he's going to be forced to do, because that's what Kristen Noem
has been calling for him to do that for a little while now. I mean, a lot of the things that Trump needed to do. Dude, just the wrong people around him again. I'm totally convinced.
If it was the Democrats in charge, they had already done it.
Let's see.
Why are Republicans always the ones? Why? What is the problem, Travis? Why is it us that never does what we're supposed to do? We always stop short. Why?
Yeah.
Democrats,
very frustrating.
Dude, like day one, they will defund ICE. They will defund it on day one. They'll just defund it. It'll be gone.
Yeah, and then we can officially have the open borders long-term policy that has been in the works for
day two.
Arguably over 100 years. So
day two, they'll impeach Trump. They'll start filing federal charges against Kash Patel, Kristen Noem. Watch what happens. Now
in the midterms, it's like, hey guys, I know we're not doing exactly what you want, but you got to come out and vote, because now we're starting to realize, Trump's agenda might get stalled. He might get impeached on it. It's like, that's not the momentum builder to get to the fucking midterms. What is the point of protecting somebody that's going to get impeached that didn't do what we voted for him to do?
Right.
What's the point? What's the point in protecting you? What is the point? He did. Dude, and I can't deny it. Trump sacrificed so much shit just getting into this position.
That's
the other part, dude. He gave up so much stuff. He's a target. His family's a target. You know how long the federal government has a memory. Just ask Robert E. Lee's family. Okay.
Right.
Like it, and there's so many people who have no idea the type of character and the type of person that Robert E. Lee was. One of the most incredible men in our history.
Absolutely.
People hear me say that name and they're like,
leader.
He was one of the finest men in American history. And for a very specific reason, very honorably, very dutifully, very bound by the passion of his state, by the way. Something
That's
that
what it was supposed
people
to be.
really should be getting back to. Is
Exactly.
you love your country through loving your state alone. You know, people, the original colonies and the way everything was sound up for, man, you can't wrap your arms around the federal government and that's your team. Shame on you if that's
The
how
wrong
you
side
wanna
won,
operate.
man. The wrong side won.
Shame on you if that's how you operate. But look, man, I always go back to Ashley Babbitt here because I was not defending the police that was doing that. I thought that was wrong to do it. But I also remember saying, don't bust into the Capitol and break down fucking windows. I mean, like,
I would
you're
have never
kind of
been
giving
doing
them
that.
carte blanche to shoot at you. So it's like, I'm not going to hold contradicting positions because it's how it's making me feel. They were both wrong.
Exactly.
You don't interfere. You
Exactly.
don't get involved in situations where you could get shot by a cop because they'll be able to justify it. And 9 times out of 10, it probably would be, because if you are screwing with something, you're breaching an area like that. And well, he could have said anything. Well, I didn't know if she had a weapon. Well, hard to argue with that. She's busting the window. How do you not know? You can't see her waistband, her waistline, right? And isn't that a big deal as a cop? Being able to see the possible areas where
technically you have to feel like you are in danger, imminent danger.
Okay, so let me caveat. So the engagement for police is different from the engagement to like a DHS agent or an ICE agent.
No,
or
no, it's the same. No, it's the same. You have to feel
I
like
was told
you're
different. Cal Seraphin said they're not the same. They're different. FBI agents have a different protocol. Police have a different protocol. DHS have a different protocol. But generally, yes, they're all the same in that if a suspect is apprehended or they're shot, you're not going to go render aid to the suspect. You got to clear the other area out.
Oh, no. You've got to secure your scene. There's all kinds of things that are going on. That is called an active scene.
Scene. That's exactly what the terminology.
That's an active scene, dude. And you've got to secure that. You've got to protect those around, because here's the thing. It wasn't just officers around you that you got to be worried about protecting.
Right.
There's other civilians around that you have to worry about protecting.
And if your suspect is alive, you have to secure the scene because you're responsible for that suspect now. Now the suspect's in your custody, right?
You know what he was supposed to do with the dead bitch? Was supposed to cuff her. That's what he was supposed to do. He wasn't supposed to assume she was dead.
Right.
Okay. He was supposed to cuff her because your scene is not secured yet. You don't know what's going on. There's too many factors involved. And
that's why the liberals are making a big deal over the doctor. It's like, hey, let me render aid. Like, that's not unusual, guys. On an active scene, they're not letting anybody in an active scene. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or not. That is not the priority. And that's not abnormal. It's not because it's Trump.
You've got to secure the scene.
It's how it works every single time. They're not going to let anybody into an active scene. That it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or not, especially if there was a shooting that just went down. Oh no, you're going to cause more chaos and possibly risk if your suspect's alive, you could be risking,
No, you don't. You don't know what's
because you do have responsibility once they're in your custody, is what I'm saying. So
she's still behind the wheel. The vehicle is still running. It's still a weapon. She can throw it in reverse. It's an active scene, and you don't know what's going on. He didn't know that she was expired after he shot.
No matter what passion you are, if you're going to make a conscious choice to go interfere with police or federal agent activity, this is likely what's going to happen to you. Okay. You want to go protest in front of them and not get involved in physically putting yourself in the way of their space, you'll probably be all right. You'll probably protest. You'll get your screen time on there. And, I would never discourage the ability to express your freedom of speech, but that's not doing it. The framing using your car as some type of No, that's not protesting. Okay. You're interfering with a legal objective. You're interfering with a lawful duty that they're carried out to do and do their job. You're going to interfere with that and you get shot in the process. That's on you, nobody else. All right. And again, if that was hard to understand, just go watch the Chris Rock video. It's highly encouraged.
Very educational. Very educational.
Very educational. Okay. Let's switch gears here. Let's go over to Operation Absolute Resolve. On January 3rd, the United States launched Operation Absolute Resolve, a large-scale military operation that captured Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. Man, we can do these awesome FBI operations and arrest people that aren't even in our country. They might even be running another country. But as far as arresting any of the politicians here connected to Epstein or any of that stuff, or the people doing these cover-ups, or these agencies that are obviously part of the terrorist campaigns against American citizens, oh, forget that. But we can deploy some cool equipment to get the president of Venezuela. You can believe that. This is not what I fucking voted for. Celia Flores from the Caracas transported them to New York. Yeah, they went to the SDNY. They went to the same New York jurisdiction and holdings that Epstein went through. So a lot of warm and fuzzies there. The operation involved over 150 aircraft, 200 special operations forces, targeted strikes on Venezuela's air defense systems, but this wasn't, guys. I get Republicans wanting to, it's my team. Let's take the arguments that my team not. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, it was just an operation. It's like, okay, so we did targeted strikes on the air defense systems. We did some cyber attacks that darkened the Capitol. 40 people were killed, including 32 Cuban security personnel and several of Maduro's bodyguards. 7 U.S. troops were injured, but this wasn't a military action. This wasn't an act of war. This wasn't something that needed to go through the confines of Congress to even get there. We're so far removed from that. That's such a pipe dream, Mark, for me, thinking that anything would go through proper protocol to get involved in this kind of shit. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as interim president by Venezuela Supreme Court with the backing from the military. President Trump declared the United States would run Venezuela until a proper transition could occur. Where have we heard that, Mark?
Well, we've heard in a lot of different places, a lot of different times. Now, I would say this. Under the Constitution, the president does have the ability to do what he did in Venezuela. It's been done 200 times since Washington found
correct.
The first president.
Now, that's under the legal umbrella of characterizing the operation as a law enforcement action versus an act of war. So technically, and again, Mark's right on this. He didn't. Now, but from the rhetoric Trump has been saying since, exactly. What the rhetoric Trump has been saying, he's been talking about no more of this stuff, no more regime change, no more of this kind of thing. So people are getting upset about it now. And I will say, I did see a lot of people in Venezuela seem to be pretty damn happy about it. I will say that. Yeah. But what does that matter? Why do I give a shit if Venezuelans are happy? Why do I fucking care if Venezuelans are happy? How the fuck does that stay on point to the agenda? And now because it's right in our backyard, we get to do mental gymnastics like the left does and go and rally around this? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. This isn't helpful. This isn't the arrest that I was looking for. Was it the arrest y'all were looking for?
Okay, that's good.
Were y'all cheering with pom-poms in November about Maduro?
Let me ask you a question, Travis. Let's say there's 28,000 arrests now. We got 28,000 corrupt politicians and government employees behind bars right now. The left is running scared. We have now deported over 15 million illegals, closing in on 20 million illegals that have effectively been deported. And we have now fixed our voting system. So there's no more mail-in ballots. There's no more, 4 weeks of voting. There's no more paper ballots. There's no more mail-in ballots. All that's been fixed. So if all that stuff's been fixed and then Trump did this, would you feel different about it?
Oh, see, I would just be bitching about it, and I'd probably just move on.
It wouldn't be, in other words, you'd have been like, hey, I didn't really vote for that, but you know what? It turned out all right. So I wouldn't, it's
I'm
not,
See, and I'm not vehemently opposed to flexing your nuts every now and then, like
Right.
just to remind people, like, look, yes, we might be a failing nation. We're not going to say that out loud, of course, but we'll come rock your shit, man. Get to it, get along. If we had a beefed up economy, we were really just going at it. And he's done a lot. I'm not going to discredit everything that's been done by the administration, but it's not enough.
well, it's not
You're rearranging chairs
the
on the Titanic, basically.
The most important things going into the last election was, number one, I don't know if it was the most important, but it was way up there, the Epstein thing. We wanted clarification. We wanted the Epstein thing done and fixed and put out there, and people brought to justice. But the big thing is, we wanted all these corrupt politicians and government employees, we wanted them brought to justice. This was the huge.
We wanted to see how
fixing our voting system, then fixing
That's right.
the voting
And
system.
see
Those
who
were the
was
things.
compromised, and see what governments were involved in these blackmailing operations and everything.
Bingo.
Like, who's controlling our policy and who's directing some of this stuff. And I don't really care who the country is.
And none of that has happened.
I don't give a shit who it is. You need to know, though. And we need to know, if you want to rebuild trust in the federal institutions we had, that would have been a hell of a way to start. But what did we get instead? We got phase one binders. We got a bumbling PR disaster. We got
laughed at,
folks. We had Thomas Massie and Jory Taylor Greene going at it with Trump. You got all this infighting and doing it. And you could have made a lot of hay while that sun shined with those Epstein files. Instead, you just smeared shit all over your face. Gone on camera. So now, why give Democrats easy ammo?
Yes.
Why do that? It's like you can sucker them into so many stories and turn it around on them and really just hammer some things that would build some momentum. But, instead we just want to move on. You're not going to get the answers to it, and we probably won't. But after hearing Dan Bongino for years and Kosh Patel and all these podcasts, only to get in there and get in front of that camera and say, he killed it. And then now it's like, is this a wag the dog scenario? Now we're talking about Venezuela. Now we got midterms. You may not like it, but you got to support the agenda. Let me tell you something, folks. If you think this strategy is going to work and this is going to rile up the MAGA base or independents to go and vote in the midterms, you're lost, man.
Oh, my God.
You're lost. You might as well just go stick your head in a bucket of ice and, just cool off for a little bit. And maybe, it's like, let's just keep the same system we've been doing since before my lifetime. And because the generations before me, we're all just doing the same thing to the generations that come after us, just kicking the can down the road, sports team mentality. And it's just all this stupidity. And look, where's some of these patterns here? Latin America. Here's some historical parallels. I had to look this up. In Guatemala, 1954. CIA Operation PBS success overthrew democratically elected President Jacobo Arbenez, leading to decades of civil war and military dictatorships. Chile in 1973, CIA-backed coup against Salvador Allende installed Augusto Pinochet's 17-year dictatorship, which left over 40,000 victims of torture, executions, and disappearances. President H.W. Bush ordered Operation Just Cause to remove Manuel Noriega, former CIA informant turned drug trafficker, the closest historical parallel to the Maduro operation. Operation Condor in 1970s. CIA support for right-wing military dictatorships across 6 Latin American countries resulted in coordinated repression, torture, and at least 97 documented killings. Of course, some are drawing comparisons to Iraq and Libya, where regime change operations removed long-entrenched leaders. And people were saying, well, Maduro was starving a bunch of his citizens. No, it wasn't just Maduro. Okay. When you're implementing socialist policies from these regimes that we changed way back when, and they start voting for third world socialist crap, that's what's contributing to where they are now, not Maduro. Did Maduro help? No. But if you're just going to, keep this idea like, oh, America's going to come, they're going to get rid of socialism in Venezuela. Mark, how much would you buy that bridge for?
Well, no, I'm not buying that bridge. We've bought it before.
So anyway, and again, as soon as I saw Lindsey Graham celebrating it, especially John Bolton, it's like, well, we know that this was a, everybody's scratching their head as to, what exactly is going on in the administration. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint what exactly, is it compromised? Is it bad? Is it bad consult, a bad advisory? There's just so many different
Susan Wiles.
we always get into this predicament, like how is it that Dan Bongino, this is such a common pattern I've seen like my whole childhood and growing up watching my dad get into this, watching you guys get into this kind of stuff. Is y'all always get a champion, the champion always gets in there, and then we're always questioning, well, why didn't he do the thing I said he did? And it's like, well, how long is this game going to go? Is this going to happen throughout my kids' lifetimes now? Oh, well, son, we voted as best we. Is that all we got? Because voting's not the answer, or it's not the only answer.
Not as long as everybody that can vote is voting. If we fixed the voting, then voting could fix our problems. The problem is the voting is broken.
And not only that, you've got the most animated population has been weaponized against itself, really. And all the outrage, the only outrage that people get are the ones they're told to be outraged about. That's it. They don't get outraged over things they ought to be. Some of this stuff that's being pushed into schools with the kids, 50, 60 years ago, good luck trying to bring a counselor into a classroom and telling little Johnny to be Jan and cut his dick off. You did that back then 50, 60 years ago. What do you think would happen to you?
Okay, but here's the thing though, Travis. It's not the school's problem. It's not, it's a parenting problem.
Right.
See, here's the thing. There's been so much abuse, sexual abuse of kids in public schools today. I think that anytime a child is abused physically or sexually in a school, the parents should be brought up on charges as well, because you cannot tell me that parents don't understand that there's a high probability that their child is going to be abused some way in a public school. Parents that send their kids to public school are horrible, horrible parents, and they need to be held accountable. So the next time little Johnny or Susie gets sexually assaulted in public school, not only do you arrest the administrator or the teacher, you also arrest the parents. They're complicit. And then all this changes. It's bad parenting. It's
and see, there was a lot of arguments about this. You remember that case in Detroit where the 4-year-old girl got taken by a 10 and an 8-year-old, and she was brutally, viciously by a under 11-year-old kids.
Yes.
Twigs.
Urinated
they messed that girl, peed on her, scalped her.
Yes.
Put things in her orifices. They destroyed that girl. Where are the parents?
That's what I'm saying.
Where the hell does an 8 and an 11-year-old learn to do something like that against a sweet little 4-year-old girl like that? And why? And Matt Walsh was making this case too. The parents should have been arrested. And I completely agree. I wholeheartedly, absolutely, 100% agree. You get to that point with kids that young that are doing that kind of thing, you got to look at the home. You have to look at the home.
Parents. You
have to look at the home.
It's the parents.
Where do kids that young learn something like that? To do that
from home.
Came from somewhere. So, I think really the element to this discussion we're talking about, Mark, is just it's a level of accountability, right? It always comes back to being accountable for the kids you're raising, the environment you brought up. A lot of us that want to just be left alone. You know, there's a lot of folks that put their kids in school. They just want somebody else to help raise their kids so they can do the things that are fun and get their leisure time and do this. There's consequences to all this convenience. There is. You're the only one capable of raising your kids, nobody else. When you put yourself in that position, you give the state more power to do that. You're talking about the type of dystopic world that we're already in. Everybody looks around like, what's it going to look like? What does it look like now, guys? This is Brave New World type shit we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, you may not have Soma. You got equivalents to it. Pharmakia is very important to the world agenda behind all this stuff. And, you know, I've been watching the show. I love that show, Fallout. I used to play the game when I was a teenager. And I always tell folks, if you want to see the real, you know, outside of this political stuff, because there is a deeper layer to this. These are all the leaves and the branches of the main part of the tree. The wind's got to blow. They got to get us, you know, somewhere. Leaves got to spread. Seeds got to spread. More trees got to grow. There's only one agenda here, and it's a long-term one. And you're not part of it. We are not part of it. Our genetic code, down to our biological level, we're not supposed to be part of it. Matter of fact, some of the genetic engineering and research, some of the stuff that Epstein was even doing at his New Mexico ranch, is all about targeting people that are problematic for the future. No, this isn't a science fiction novel. This isn't make-believe type of shit. But if you want a little glimpse when they do it's called a revelation of a method. It's almost a ritualistic mocking of the victims that they're ruling over. Go watch Fallout, the TV show series, and watch the last episode of the first season. And yes, they will put the dialectic of communism and capitalism in it. You got to be able to read through it. But I think the show does a pretty good job of really showing how both of those dialects, they're meant to go to one place. You can't do it without opposition from another side. It's called the third way. It's a practice. It's from the Fabian Society. It goes all the way back to different rites and passages on how they implement and change civilization wholesale over long periods of time. It's a slow method. Okay. Go watch that last episode of Fallout. You'll know exactly where this is all going. Okay. The overseers of every country on this planet, you are looked at as livestock, and the countries are just the gates of these livestock. And right now there's an excess of livestock. And when there's an excess of livestock, you got to call the herd. Otherwise, you can't manage it correctly. Okay. So all this stuff with AI, technology, all this stuff that we're bickering about with all these immigrants and everything, there's a pattern and there's a end game to it. And part of it is causing so much chaos that you'll never see the target you're supposed to. You'll just instead drive 5.5 hours out of your own way with 3 kids to go interrupt a ICE immigration detainment program. Okay. Instead of going after the shit that's real. The long-term agendas here. No, instead we're fighting with each other over ICE immigration, customs, and enforcement.
Bingo.
And you're getting shot in the process. And meanwhile, the agenda doesn't stop. It steamrolls ahead, Mark.
Absolutely.
Do you think that the people in power have any fear of the public of the
No, none. Zero.
They
None.
don't. Now, they still do, because there's still too many of us, according to them, when you listen to their TED Talks and you listen to their meeting minutes at the Club of Rome. It's too untidy. All these people breeding without any genetic purpose for them that's designed for you. There's people, man, you get into the rabbit hole in this kind of stuff and the roles that people play and how fanatically, religiously determined these intergenerational plans are. You have no idea what's coming. Okay. America was an experiment. It wasn't meant to last this long. So they are fighting tooth and nail to make sure they're just going to implode it, and they're going to keep us at each other's throats. And we're going to have, battle cries over stupid shit like this, like getting involved in immigration enforcement. I can't imagine there's more important things to go and really get in people's faces about. This ain't it. This ain't it. Okay, so we'll see where this goes. I think Mark's right. I think the state is absolutely, it doesn't matter if the evidence is good or not. They will find it. They will find a way to get them to prosecute this officer. Just mark it down. So it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how this works out. What do you say, Mark?
I feel bad for the officer because I know what's coming his way, and there's a really, really super high probability he's going to end up in prison next to Derek Chauvin, and it's just going to, again, it's going to have a very, very negative effect on law and order in this country. And again, the communists are going to win. And when the midterms happen, I think that we could. I think the chances of falling into a full-fledged, highly kinetic civil war of some sort is going to be extremely high. I'd wager money on it.
Yeah, and this whole thing, I've always thought long term, you get enough strife in the country, people will beg for the solution, and they're going to beg from the solution from the very agencies and institutions that caused this to begin with. You will ask that you will permit more power, military on the streets. And folks, once it gets to a certain point, you're going to look at this historically. You can't go backwards. You can't reverse once it gets that.
Once you invite the government in, you're done. You're freaking done. No, this is going to have to be an uprising from the civilians, and to take, it's going to have to be vigilante type of justice, and it's going to be very ugly, and it's going to be horrible, and it's going to be a job for men. But I think we need to pray that that's what happens, because there's only one solution. There's no coexistence with communists. They have to be, somehow or another, they have to be removed one way or the other.
Yeah. And, when I'm driving down 45 and I see that near my home here, and it's just, there was only like 7 people up there, but it's like that's
Montgomery County, dude.
They come in from different counties. I know Harris County, Montgomery County have some weird thing with busing people in. I'll never forget my old neighborhood, River Plantation there. Man, I had a priest live across the street that had that Cornerstone Church. She used to do his sermons up there. He told me Harris County is busting and all these homeless. But I'll never forget waking up and driving to work one morning. And this was like at 6 a.m. And it looked like I was driving through San Francisco in my own neighborhood. I remember looking around going, who are all these homeless people in my neighborhood? And then the priest told me that they actually started camping out in the church and setting up booby traps in the church itself to keep people from coming in there. And I'm talking like not booby traps to, let someone know you're coming. They'll hurt you if you don't navigate them correctly. So yes, I have no doubt if I go and look into some of these, I know there's been these huge congregations of people out there in Minnesota. And I'm sure if you go dig into it, yeah, you'll find some paid. Again, you'll find these buses, from wherever they're coming from. The level of coordination from these NGOs and these political groups, people really can't underestimate. And that's the other frustrating part too, is we're January. And we know there's trails, there's money trails to where this is all being coordinated and coming from. And we're not seeing anybody being arrested. All we're doing is sitting here reacting to the bad policy mistakes and the PR disasters that the administration just keeps happening. They just keep doing it. So, we'd like to see solutions. Obviously, I'd like to see a hell of a lot more. This whole black pilling thing, the negative people. No, people that are talking like that, if that's for you, go listen to Dan Bongino. Don't listen to ours. Go listen to Dan Bongino, and y'all can. Who knows? Maybe y'all can go invade Peru or Colombia, and y'all can talk about all the cool weapons we use and the ultrasound supersonic weapons we used over there and how cool it is to be an American and rah rah, and here's some more refugees coming out of these countries because we're going to get involved in whatever mess we're going to make over there. It's getting old. It's getting old. It's getting very, very old, and it's very discouraging. And we got, we had all the momentum from the election going in there. Things were looking very promising from a multitude of different angles. Sure, gas is getting cheaper. We're seeing some strides in the economy. The housing market's picking up, it seems like, a little bit. And those are all good things. So, but the big wins, man, that's what we're looking for, Mark. We're looking for the big wins. We're looking for, they're not just big wins. We're looking for the things that are actually going to make
an impact.
They're going to make an impact. They're not going to be something we go and we, rub our nose and, at our neighbors, Trump did that. No, it needs to be something everybody can understand is going to benefit from. Now, I do think a lot of people are still, they're very, as much, people getting shot over this immigration stuff. People are still over the immigration stuff. The poll numbers are very clear on this. This really, as far as the migration, I think Americans are pretty much, for the most part, on the same page, unless you're a cat lady. But I think the next challenge is really just the magnitude, Mark, the level of magnitude of all this influx of third world people coming in here, what it's really meant to do. I think that level of magnitude we still need some more. We need more arrests. I mean, right? The Somali thing could be a big one. That seems like a pretty cut and dry case, you ask me. I don't know what the hell's taking so long with getting that going.
Why isn't Walls in jail right now?
And you got the mayor out there speaking Somalian. This is just absolute crazy shit, man. Never thought this would be some of the stuff we'd be covering here on the Defiance Daily Show, but here we are. So let's see. Let's see what unfolds over these next coming days. I guess we're going to be talking about Venezuela. Iran's back in the news because they're protesting over there. I can guarantee we are not getting whatever the real story is. Okay. I already have the docket lined up to figure out what's going on in Iran. And I don't want to keep covering Iran. I don't want to cover Venezuela. I want to cover substantial impacts and things that make it look like our country and the states are going to be better as a result. We're just not there yet, Mark. We're just not there. And what I don't want is, like, that's another thing that's not very momentum building is, we got to get involved in the midterms or Trump's going to get impeached. It's like, well, we've been saying that since before he was officially in office. We knew it was coming. And now you want us to, after all the bumbling and we didn't do everything that, we possibly could. And I know we're failing short on there, but the midterms are coming. Now I'm going to get impeached. It's people that are kind of on the fence, that are independent. They're not going to go out of their way and on that message and be animated to go to the polls because Trump's going to get impeached. If nothing's being done, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Okay, so it's like we're going to lose anyway. So we're just going to hold them at bay for a little bit. I feel like people are going to say, let the whole thing crash and let the chips fall where they may. Here's where I'm going to be. I don't care about anything else to do with it. And that's probably a bad thing. That may be, that may not turn out very well for the entire state of the country, but, let's see what happens in the news here, guy. But this Brian Cole January 6th bomber case, and knowing that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel touched it, now Bondi, like, we're all supposed to be happy about it. This is supposed to be a victory lap. Mark, are you doing victory laps over Brian Cole being arrested? This apolitical figure who also was camped out in front of the Congressional Black Caucus, but he had no political motive really until he just snapped one day because both parties were, and then he bought all the bomb making materials over a span of 2 years before the election even happened. And then did some more similar purchases after the election, but wiped his phone. Nothing, man. Come on, man. It just doesn't make sense. But Folks, thank you for how long did we go in here today, buddy?
Oh, we're at yeah. In fact, I've got a call. I've got to jump on here at 4:00. I just looked at my time and I'm like, holy crap, man! I didn't know we'd gone almost 4 hours.
Well, let's get you over. Let's wrap the show up, folks. Thank you for visiting the Defiance Daily Show. Thank you for being patient with us as we've worked these past couple weeks through our technical difficulties. This is the Defiance Daily Show. Don't forget to visit defiancepress.com. That's defiancepress.com. We have check out our authors and our books in store there. Really important you support our authors. Supporting our authors not only supports them, it supports the team here at Defiance Press and Publishing and everybody involved behind the scenes here. If you are in the market for a publisher, if you're looking to get published, go to defiancepress.com, hit that get published link, or give us a call at 281-581-9300. That's 281-581-9300. Also give a shout out to Mark if you have any questions. That's Mark at defiancepress.com. Again, that's Mark at defiancepress.com. When you hit the get published link over there, follow the prompts in the protocol to make your submission. Keep in mind that once you submit your manuscript, we do not keep your manuscript. We are not a third world Somali run organization here at Defiance Press and Publishing. We don't keep manuscripts and repurpose them. I don't know where folks have been going to in the past, but that's not what we do here. We only keep your manuscript. If you go to contract, you write a book with us. Okay. That's the only reason. Otherwise, it's gone. It's out of the ether. It's out of our hands. We do not repurpose or reuse any of that. Again, we are based here in Conroe, Texas, not Minnesota. So keep that in mind when you're looking at defiancepress.com. Also, check out our sponsors at RFT Media for your IT and technical needs. Also, if you're in the market, it's January here. The temperature was 39 degrees this morning, but it was 80 degrees last week. So if you had a pool, visit J. Bradley Custom Pools, jbradleypools.com, and go get in line for a pool in the Texas area. This is for the greater Houston, Dallas, Austin areas. That's jbradleypools.com. It's never a bad time in Texas, especially down here, to get a pool in your backyard and start swimming. Mark, let's get them to you.
Man, God bless you. God bless everyone. Stay armed, stay vigilant, keep fighting, never give up, never give in, never let them see you blink. Man, let's go make something happen. Let's get these commies on the ropes. That's what I want more than anything else, man. Let's purge this country of these illegal aliens and commies. Let's do it.
Man, there's a lot of work to be done, and it's not all doom and gloom, but we got to hold people accountable. Okay. We are not a left cult. Let's not even pretend like we're anything close to that. And, get what we need done. Can't go to the show without mentioning the man, the myth, the legend that made all this possible. And that's my pops there, David Thomas Roberts. Love you, Dad. His birthday's around the corner, so we're going to be up there celebrating with him. Miss him every day, but we carry on here. We push forward through all this chaos and all this mess. And that's my mom there, Rose Roberts. Love you, Mom. And we carry on here at Defiance Press and Publishing. So thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Defiance Daily Show. This is episode 58. Tune in every Monday, 12 p.m. Central, to watch us live. Sometimes we'll go 2 hours. Sometimes we'll go 4. Hell, maybe sometimes we'll just go 8 hours straight. You never know.
We might do a Jerry Lewis telethon and go 24.
We might do that damn thing right there. Man. Yes, sir. Mark, it's good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you, brother.
Stay away from gasoline and lighters and all that kind of good stuff. God bless all of you. Thank you all for joining, and remember to stay reliable, stay armed, stay vigilant, and be dependable for those that are counting on you. So I love you all. Thank you. Tune in next week for our next show. Have a good one.